the due process of actually doing the investigation properly. We're not speaking about Tobies or somebody that has no financial backing or no friends in high society, as we say in Grenada.
Mm-hmm. I think I lost you here. What's happening? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I could hear you.
Yeah, Midland. I think some Midland get lost, get cut off somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting back. Yeah. So on the whole idea of Mr. Douglas, there, I actually grew up with a brother, not too far away from where I live. We actually are very good friends growing up. It's kind of shocking for me to hear those things and reading in the people the kind of charges that was brought against him, and it's alleged also that his lawyer and the victim lawyer was meeting, was having some discussions, and that didn't apparently didn't work out, and that probably led to the continuation of pursuing charges to be laid. We have to wait and see what the result gonna be, what the court actions gonna be, and how all of this will play out in the court. Um, I am hopeful that the court will come, will bring out the truth, and we will hear more of what has really taken place, and that persons listening to this show and to listen, reading weekly, the development of the case would come up and be more informed as to what really transpired there. But Mr. Mitton, are you back? Yes. So, hello, Mr. Midland? I think he's back. Just Mr. Midland?
Yes, sir. Sorry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
I
that's
seem to
okay.
be having some issues
Yeah, I
with the
am okay. I was just talking about the issues and the charges that there was a meeting between both lawyers on the discussion
hmm
on the sexual nature of the offense,
hmm
and after that the whatever transpired have shifted to laying charges, the
hmm
DPP and so on.
hmm
The number of things that was said, the young lady said that he took out a quarantine point and allegedly, all these alleged allegations was brought forward. So all
hmm
of that, and he brought bring down provision from the country for her
hmm
and put her behind a mall and touch her up and suffer that, sexually
hmm
assaulted her. So all
hmm
of these things came up through police investigation. All these things were revealed.
hmm
Um, but he is not the only person in that facility. That facility has been plagued with serious allegations of that nature. My
hmm
question is, what happened to the other persons that was accused,
hmm
and the committee that was set up to
hmm
look into those sexual allegations at CC.
hmm
Until the prime minister was brought in, according to the report, the prime minister was brought in to have a discussion and to have some disciplinary action taken as well. Could you enlighten us about that if you have any information on that as well?
What I would say, Mr. Calise, is that I am yet to speak to the officers at CRDC to see what information I could be given based on the sensitivity of the case.
Mm-hmm.
However, what I would say is that even in this situation of Cletus St. Paul, who
Mm-hmm.
was the Prime Minister's head of security, a man in one of the most sensitive offices in Grenada in our government as a public servant. Remember, just last year, I believe, Mr. St. Paul was arrested and charged
Yes.
of same thing.
Mm-hmm.
A young lady went to the Prime Minister's office to seek some assistance. She was passed on to Mr. Cletus St. Paul to get some lands so that she would be able to build and survive and so forth. And according to the reports that were posted in the local newspaper, um, Mr. St. Paul did not only send sexually explicit messages to this lady. What he actually did was go to her home as the Prime Minister's head of security to bring the young lady to land in Boucherville, I believe, to show her a spot. And we do have a Ministry of Housing, a Ministry of Social Development. I cannot understand why the Prime Minister's head of security would
Security.
have to get involved in a situation like that. But the fact is, the allegation was, and what was said um, on local media after the information was released, is that Mr. St. Paul um, went to the lady's home. She opened the door in a towel with a baby on her shoulder, and he just, he invaded her private space at the lower regions of her body, at the private parts, and he tried entering his fingers in there. And after, months after, a next young lady came forward and said that Mr. St. Paul tried doing the same thing with her. He gave her a ride and he actually dipped his hand whilst they were in the vehicle when she was about to drop out, dipped his hand into her blouse and took out her breast and
Hmm.
tried sucking on the nipple. Now, unfortunately enough, after almost 1 year, we have heard nothing about that case.
And
All we
he has
heard,
been transferred to.
he has been transferred. He is now in a next public position. Now, just last year again, we had a teacher from Karakou who was accused, arrested, and charged for sexually assaulting his students for almost 21 years in
Wow.
Karakou. Almost 21 years. Just last year, we had a pharmacist who was arrested and charged for drugging his daughter and raping
Wow.
his daughter.
Hmm.
Now, I cannot say that I am surprised. What I can say is that I am disheartened. I am, as a man, it's very embarrassing to know that other men are doing these things. We have, myself and Miss Rolanda McQueen, we
Hmm.
walked through the tongue of St. George 2 years ago. We said to the people at Child Protection Authority that more needs to be done. We need stiffer penalties to act as a deterrent.
Hmm.
Although these stiffer penalties would not eliminate these deficiencies
Behaviors.
from
Yes.
our society, these
Hmm.
deviants. It will definitely make them think twice. It may give a child or a young lady or a person or a young boy, because there are not only men partaking in situations like these. There are men and women. And mostly we focus on the men when the men are doing it. We have seen over the years, even in America, or even in Grenada, where female teachers would have had sexual intercourse with their students, but it is not spoken about as much when it comes to women. But these things happen and they're based on mindsets. And I need to commend the Royal Grenada Police Force, the SVU, Special Victims Unit of the Royal Grenada Police Force. They have in 20 had community meetings and so forth, trying to speak to the people of different communities throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique about ways that they can limit the involvement or the endangerment of their children and themselves and so forth. But unfortunately enough, as many people cry out on social media when it comes to actually doing something, when it comes to taking part in changing the society and protecting our loved ones and our neighbors and so forth, we only see about 5, 6, 7 people, 20 people for the most, taking part in these things. Um, there is a lot more that we can do. I myself went to a few schools around the island and spoke not only to the teachers, but to the students as well about sexual abuse and so forth, doing whatever we could. And we really, 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 really need to deal with situations like these. Mr. Darshan Ramdani, when he was the Attorney General, after we did a petition, myself and Miss McQueen did a petition. Um, a few days later, it is my understanding, based on what was said by the government, I do hope this was not a next situation where they used deceitful tactics to try to soften the people, or bring the people towards them. They said that they actually strengthened the laws, like adding more years and so forth. But incarceration is not enough. We need mandatory counseling and so forth. We don't just need these perpetrators going to Her Majesty's prison and sitting and having cigarettes and a good time for 4 years. They
Um,
will go ahead.
there was a discussion, and I think Mr. Vespri, who was the interim director there at the TAMCC, said that this was a problem that he made there, and there was a committee set up to look into the misconducts of individuals in the facility. Um, there was also this committee was set up. Do you have any idea as to how functional that committee was, and how
Mhm,
effective it was in making sure that those situations doesn't exist or happen within the
mhm,
organization? And the prime minister being part of the discussion at one point, how are they looking to
mhm,
better improve
mhm,
the selection process for
mhm,
professors and lecturers at the
mhm,
TAMCC?
mhm. What I would say is that um, although there's a certain level of accountability to these individuals, to these communities that have been set up, we cannot give them all the blame, because they would not be aware of a man's mindset.
Mm.
We have teachers, we have police officers who have been partaking in these actions. We had a police
Yes.
officer who was charged last year for raping a next police officer, well, two female police officers, a corporal of police.
Mm.
We had a 61-year-old police officer who raped a 16-year-old child that was in his custody at
Wow.
SSU camp. But these things somehow just simply vanish in our societies. The local medias do not follow up on the stories, and it goes unheard of without any convictions and so forth. These cases just basically wash away. Now, so that is my take on the communities and the individuals. Now, as it relates to the Prime Minister, when it comes to his intervention into the matter, I would say that, based on knowledge and experience, and the Prime Minister's intervention in the case of Cletus St. Paul when it was reported to him, it basically makes no sense,
Mm.
because it was reported that when the young lady informed the Prime Minister of what Mr. St. Paul did, he only told her that he would get somebody from housing to look into the matter. He would actually put her on to a female person. The Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, did not inform the young lady that she needs to go to the Royal Grenada Police Force. So it makes no sense having someone with that low integrity, or no integrity at all, intervening in such a case. He has already proven himself a failure when it would be related to the case of Cletus St. Paul. So would I, or why would anyone call on him to intervene? What is he going to do? Is he going to put her on to a different?
Mm.
We do a lot of things that makes no sense in society. It only gives off a perception that something is going to happen, but we all know that nothing is going to happen, right? Unless we, the people, actually make it happen.
Okay, and there was another thing that kind of baffles me a bit, as it relates to Mr. Vespri, Augustine Vespri,
Mm-hmm.
or he was being sacked. He said that he has been sacked, and one of the accusations that he had been sweeping some of the reports, the
Mm-hmm.
reports that he was sweeping under the carpet several allegations made about sexual molestation of
Mm-hmm.
students in the
Mm-hmm.
facility. But he claimed that there has been a problem that he inherited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that he has been forthcoming enough and being able to shed more light on those accusations that have been taking place at the facility
Mm-hmm.
under his chairmanship?
Um, that's a very tough question. That's a very tough question. I what I would say, I have to be responsible. I do not have all the
Mm-hmm.
details, but what I would say is that these things are criminal matters,
Mm-hmm.
and those criminal matters should be reported to the police.
Right.
Now, if Mr. Vespri has any information, if he has inherited anything, he does have a moral and legal responsibility to report it to the police so that they would execute their duties under the Grenada Criminal Code. If
Mm-hmm.
he does not do that and he holds back on the information or he is found to hold back on the information, then he has aided and abetted these crimes and he should also be prosecuted as well with the full force of the law. We have so many communities that have been committees, sorry, that has been set up um, just to financially benefit persons that are affiliated with the authoritarians or whatever the case is. And this encourages a lot of deficiencies in the society to continue because it's just basically a salary for some people. It's just a way of earning finances. It is not for the purpose that it has been expected to, the creation has been expected for. It is just
Mm-hmm.
there, so we have done ourselves a lot of wrong. We have done ourselves a lot of wrong. I feel it for the child and the family. She's 19 years old, but in my eyes, she's still a baby. I'm 36 years old, and 19-year-old is still a teenager. Some people are arguing that she's old enough. She's 19, she's not 16. What gives a man a right to do something like that to a lady?
I mean, I have a 19-year-old, and
Hmm.
she is still a child to me to live in my house
Yes.
still, and
Hmm.
I would be very very upset
Hmm.
if a 40-year-old man
Hmm.
would do that to my daughter.
55 or 54, I
55
think.
year,
Yeah.
will be doing
Yeah.
that to my
Sad.
daughter, and I will not be taking that very lightly.
Hmm.
So again, all of these things, I'm saying that we have to have more checks and balances, and wherever those things raises their head, must be dealt with. And going forward, I hope that the message will be sent out
Hmm.
quite clearly that
Hmm.
it's a new dispensation,
Hmm.
that these things would not be tolerated at any level. you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
wherever it's taking place, those people who engage in those things, let them
Hmm.
know that there will be heavy manners for that.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no easy walk in the park for those things. So I
Hmm.
think that there should be some more push, more advocacy taking place in Grenada on behalf of those students and females in general. Any working
Oh,
environment, people
yeah.
must not we should go to school or go to work without sexual interference. They
Hmm.
should be free to study, free to work without people sexually harassing them. This
Hmm.
should be something that should not be tolerated at all. So
Hmm.
again, I think that some more push have to be taking place to ensure that those things do not raise the dirty heads in our society.
Hmm.
Again. So
Definitely.
again, I want to thank you for that. I know you have limited time with us.
Hmm.
Is there anything else you want to add as it relates to your discussion with the Prime Minister about compensation
Hmm.
for unvaccinated person who lost their jobs and so on?
Hmm.
I know you was not you was up on that too. What is your
Hmm.
take on that? Can you
Hmm.
tell us a little about your
Mhm.
dealings with that before you go.
Mhm. Okay. Um, Unfortunately enough, we do have a lot of different opinions. Sometimes we have to agree to disagree, based on fundamental principles, based on our bringings and so forth. I might see something differently from someone else. But when it comes to lawful obligations, when it comes to lawful duty and so forth, um, I believe it is my opinion. It is, the Prime Minister in one of his most recent press briefings, I believe only 3 days ago, would have allowed his personal opinion to infect his constitutional duty and the constitutional rights of persons in Grenada who have a right to work. We have seen many times over the last few years, as they have said, we should follow the science. Vaccinated persons have also been getting sick from COVID. They have spread COVID. We have seen the bad decision on the part of the Prime Minister and his regime to remove totally the quarantine period for vaccinated persons entering Grenada. We have seen boats of tourists coming to Grenada, not even Grenadians, but boats of foreigners coming to Grenada and gathering and not wearing masks and so forth inside of Grenada. We have seen the Minister of Tourism, Ms. Clarice Modest Kerwin, removing Grenadian vendors from businesses at the Grandans Market where they paid rent for their booths, where their rent was up to date, where they operated for 25 and 30 years. We have seen the Prime Minister and the Minister of Tourism and the Grenada Tourism Authority under Mr. Barry Collimo, who is a Bajan gentleman, as the person in charge of the Grenada Tourism Authority, remove vendors who have license to operate at the Grandans Market to facilitate vaccinated tourists, non-citizens in Grenada. They have been locked out. So this situation has not only been caused by privately owned businesses such as St. George's University, Sandals, Radisson, Koyaba, and those other places. Um, this is something that the government has taken an active role in doing. Now, when it comes to the Constitution of Grenada, the government has a legal obligation to provide representation, whether the Prime Minister believes that the people should be vaccinated or not. The government has a legal obligation to provide um, the facilities to allow these victims, and I would say victims, these victims to get representation from the Ministry of Labor. Now, particularly under Section 80, Part 1 of the Employment Act, it states, and this is just something that strengthens fundamental rights and freedoms, Chapter 1, Section 1D, the right to work, despite your religious beliefs and so forth. And we have to also consider the fact that a lot of people do not use man-made medications because of their religious beliefs. And this is something that we should not deny them. Now, it says that if the employer's conduct is unjustified, then the employee can leave the job. And under Section 80, Part 2, it says under such a circumstance, the employee can file a claim with the Ministry of Labor under unfair dismissal, which is under Section 84. Now, employees who lost their jobs, who would have been sent home, employees who left, who would have been sent home by their employers. Under our laws, the laws that the Prime Minister is to protect, the laws that we, the people, and the Prime Minister himself is to uphold, he has taken an oath of office. I personally said to the workers, to the Grenadian public, I am inviting you to come to the Ministry of Labor to make your claim to the Labor Office under Section 80 and Section 84, right? Constructive dismissal and unfair dismissal, so that they would be given that representation, because the law says, the Constitution says that everyone has a right to a legal system. Basically, they should not be denied. Whether once you're in Grenada, equal opportunity. Now, what I found on that morning, entering the botanical gardens, whoever it was, someone in authority was able to send 4 van loads of police officers, including the officers that we see patrolling the streets in the red stripes, and SSU officers, special services officers, to the botanical gardens to block workers, hard-working, honest workers, who were just simply going to do what the law allows by just walking into the Ministry of Labor individually and filling out claim forms to the Labor Commissioner so that their matters would be dealt with. Someone sent police officers, someone in authority was able to gather so many police officers and station them there to refuse Grenadians the right under Section 80 and 84 to make a complaint to the Labor Office. Now, with that being said, and before I get to this point, but we obviously stood our ground and we made those claims because we are aware that we have an obligation to uphold the law and we would not remain victims. We would not remain victims. We do have a constitutional right, freedom of movement, unmolested, and so forth. I did speak to the officer and officers who were present, and although we started off with some debates, they understood what was happening and they understood that we were doing nothing illegal. You know, one officer even said to me, how would I feel if there were crimes being committed in town and the police were not able to attend to those crimes because they were there to monitor us at botanical gardens? And I said to that officer, that would be rather unfortunate, but fortunately enough for me, I would feel no guilt because I did not call the officers there. I had no reason to need the officers there, you know. So this is what is happening in Grenada. This is what is happening. Now, with the Prime Minister laughing in one of his most recent interviews about compensation packages for persons who were sent home, it is a disgrace. And I'll tell you why. Because last year in 2020, the first set of persons that received compensation packages, even before the vaccine, were the elites, the hotels, the persons who would have been benefiting off of tourism. And when we look at what is happening, we have places such as Sandals and so forth where tourists come in. Even now, they're not even going through the relevant protocols, even when it comes to quarantining and so forth. We have those vehicles from the Sandals and so forth just coming and picking them up and bringing them down there. We don't see these individuals. They don't shop from the local vendors and so forth. They get everything down there. They get everything in Sandals. Now they were given compensation packages. The people that we are speaking about, and the Prime Minister is aware, although he tried to minimalize the amount of persons that have been sent home. SGU started off with about 400, Sandals 300, persons at the call centers, persons at real value. He said there is no significant amount of workers that have been sent home, which is a lie. We had vendors started off, 30 vendors only from the Grandlands market who were put out of the Grandlands market, although they had a license to operate and so forth. A significant number of persons have been sent home. And these numbers of persons include pregnant mothers who work at call centers. Pregnant mothers, not just mothers, but pregnant mothers, mothers who need the financial assistance to support the child that is in their womb. We're speaking about mothers with children inside their womb. The Prime Minister said he's not going to offer any type of incentive for persons to not take the vaccine. So he does not care that these our people will not be able to do their CT scans and so forth, because these things are not free. He does not care that they would not have the money to go and buy the necessary nutrients and medication and so forth to allow that child not only to grow healthy, but even to be born. This is it's a demonic act. It is embarrassing. It is an insult to the Constitution. We have to separate our personal opinions from that of the law, even if one doesn't possess the ability, to stand on the side of morality or to be his brother's keeper. We're speaking about a gentleman that took an oath to uphold.
So let me ask you a question, and before we go, before you leave, I know this time is running out on you. So, what, in your opinion, what could be fundamentally right to be done now, given that there are people on the breadline? What would be your next move? What would be your way of helping to alleviate some of the crisis that is pending and that is foreseen? How do you intend to help to suggest to the government what should be done? I mean, not just the Prime Minister's opinion. How do we tackle the problem head on? In the future.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I have been doing. From the beginning of this whole chaotic period, what I started doing, especially when they started sending people home from the jobs because they were not vaccinated, I started food drives. The very first food drive I did was at the Parliament building, the yard of the Parliament building, collected food, dropped it off for persons who were mostly affected. Everyone is affected. We have to remember that hard decisions have to be made. There's a lot of people that are affected, but there are some that are in need more than some. Many people have reached out to me. I continue doing the food drive with the assistance of many persons, such as Mr. Ramon Frame, Ash Medford, Hernel Panchu. A lot of people have come forward and assisted Mr. Dexter Yeo Ching, his wife, and so forth. We do the food drives and we drop off the thing. There are even police officers whose name I cannot mention that have set up funds and have placed me, given me the ability to actually lead the some of the groups. They have set up funds, or we have set up funds to pay the bills, the utility bills, the water bill, the electric bill of persons who have been sent home. This is something that we continue to do. Mr. Dave Ned, who you all are familiar with, he has been very supportive. He has been very instrumental in going out to the places, the business places where persons have been sent home and standing with the workers along with myself and many other persons. They have taken to task the government. We have gone to the Attorney General's office to remind them that they are public servants and our laws must be honored, they must be followed. Um, and we have been doing a lot. The Caucus for Constitutional Reform has been doing many educational programs as to enlightening, empowering the people of Grenada, Cargo, and Petit Martinique, or the wider world, whoever is listening. These are your basic fundamental rights as a human being. There is a lot of things that we are doing. We are bringing the workers to the ministries, the different ministries, and so forth, looking for assistance from elsewhere, wherever it comes from. We continue to do that. The task, you know, although it's very complicated, based on the persons that are working against us, and sometimes we do even have victims working against us because ignorance is just simply the lack of knowledge. So one may say to someone, look, this is what you are entitled to, and they would say, no, the prime minister said this cannot happen. Many times we think that opinions from persons in whatever offices, prestigious offices or factor and so forth, but it's not.
The law
We
is the
try
law.
to empower the people. The law is the law.
Mm.
There should be no bias. We have been, we have been doing a lot. The food drives have not only started just recently, due to these recent developments, under my charity, Grenada Empowerment Movement, charity organization, I had a project called Project FECT. This was since 2017. And Project FECT is FECT, providing food, um, emotional support, clothing, and toiletries. So I've
Right.
been doing it for a very long time, providing homes for the homeless, as much as I could with the great assistance of the Grenadian people who have been very, very supportive when it comes to supporting our people,
All right.
and humanity. But we could do as much as we can. We do need the people
All
to
right.
come forward. Yeah.
Okay. So before you go, where can people, if people, person want to get in contact with you, where can they and how can they contact you to assist you in assisting others
Hmm.
in your drive and your
Uh-huh.
movement to
Okay.
better assist other folks in Grenada?
Okay. So my number is 458 9092. My Facebook page, the name is Earl Joseph, Josef Maitland. There is also two pages that can be contacted: the Grenada Empowerment Movement charity organization and the Grenada Empowerment Movement political party. I'm very easy to find. One could contact Meaningful Television on Lagoon Road, and they would allow them to get in contact with me. So very easy, very easy. And I want to use this opportunity, thanks, Mr. Khalis, to invite the people um, to reach out. There are many persons. Sometimes I get about 3 to 4 calls on a daily basis, asking for assistance, and not only for persons that have been sent home due to COVID and so forth. We have a lot of persons here in Grenada who need dialysis treatment, persons who need surgeries and so forth. And I want to say thank you to all the people who would have prayed and made monetary contributions and so forth. Just about 3 weeks ago, I was able to successfully gather $20,000 in 4 days to pay $15,000 as a down payment to some doctors who came from Trinidad to do a surgery on a 17-year-old young lady's spine, as she damaged it from doing long jumps and so forth, and 5,000 to St. Augustine. Although I wish that these persons with the ability to change lives would have taken so much, less money, because money doesn't just, you can't just walk and pick up money like that. So I want to say to the people who contributed, thank you. We're very grateful. The mother, the child, she's recovering well. There are many other persons. There's a young lady right now that I'm trying to assist with a hip surgery. There's a young boy that is 28 years old. He works at Arnold supermarket. He has a tumor in his brain. There are a lot of persons in Grenada who are in need. And sometimes, many times, when we want to actually assist, many times we send the monies to the wrong persons. Sending things to the government of Grenada, sending things to the Ministry of Health, it doesn't always get to the persons in need. What I can do is offer the person's number. If anybody is interested in making a contribution directly to the person that has been affected, of course, I do vet the persons to ensure that they do have their medical papers and so forth, that their condition is actually genuine. I could put you directly in contact with the person. I know that many Grenadians from New York, such as Mr. Denison George and so forth, would have sent dialysis machines for the use of for our Grenadian people, for the kidney failures and so forth. They would have sent it directly to the Ministry of Health through the Grenadian Consulate in America, and these 2 dialysis machines, not pins, disappeared from our government's possession. We have entities such as the Red Cross and so forth, something that is worldwide, internationally known, doing nothing to assist the people, whilst they boast about helping 1,000 people in an entire year. 1,000 food hampers they gave out, and this is something that they felt, that they should be able to boast about. 1,000 food hampers. There's a lot of people in need, and I can reach out to me. I know a lot of them if persons are interested or able. I know a lot of people are interested, but they're not able, especially now in the COVID era that we're in. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't stay longer than the
Yes,
hour.
I'm sorry.
But that's okay. Before we move on, Dennis and Delbert back here, we have Sandra Ferguson, Lincoln, Deputy Ken Lewis, Yulin Alexander, Doris Moraine, Charles, and Veronica, Sonia Martin Scott. They're all in the chat and have been making comments here. But I would play a song. I'll come right back before we move on again to our segment, second segment of the night. All right?
All right. Okay. Thank you.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Honesty is the best policy, but they won't referring to people like me. Honesty is the best policy, but they wasn't referring to people like me. Rich people could say anything because they living like queen and king. Whenever your neighbor living in luxury, the first man to tell you to be honest is he. Honesty is for the rich, they can all live above board. But it's one virtue which poor people can't afford. With temptation always knocking at your door, where the next meal coming from you're never sure. That is always the case when you're poor, so necessity knows no law. It's good to be honest, I wouldn't deny, but through dishonesty, plenty people get by. To cheat and to lie is very, very wrong, but that's the way politicians get along. The amount of lie politicians tell, when they're dead, all of them going straight to hell. Before election, they're talking honesty, but after election, they practicing rashifi. Honesty is for the rich, they can all live above board. But it's one virtue politicians can't afford. With temptation always knocking at their door, when the next meal coming from they never sure. That is always the case when you're poor. Boys, necessity knows no law. Rich people who don't invest their money is crippling the nation's economy. They can assist things like unemployment by simply making a small investment. So whenever a poor man break up my shop, the government should lock a rich man up. Magistrates always penalizing we, but misers create dishonesty. Honesty is for the rich, they can all live above board. But it's one virtue which poor people can't afford. Temptation always knocking at your door, where the next meal coming from you're never sure. That is always the case when you're poor, so necessity knows no law.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
All honest people catching hell, while rich dishonest folks doing well. All rich people does be wrong and strong, but when a poor man right, he always wrong. So if a poor man want to find happiness, he got to learn to be dishonest. Lie like hell, do some thieving too. And when you get rich, nobody honest like you. Honesty is for the rich, they can all live above board. Virtue which poor people can't afford. Temptation always knocking at your door, where the next meal coming from you're never sure. That is always the case when you're poor, so necessity knows no law.
Yes, that's the man, Dr. Slinger Francisco, the mighty sparrow, called Honesty. Well, we're back. Delbert Baptiste, Brother Dennis Charles. I hope that Ken could have joined us. Ken Lewis, I sent him the chat as well. Mr. Midland has left the building. Okay. So, take care. Thank you again, Brother Midland. I know you've gone, but I thank you very much for your time. Dennis Charles, how you doing, my brother?
Yes, it is nice to be back. It is nice to see you. I
Great.
did enjoy that song from the Sparrow, so I gotta go get that and put it up on Weebon. That was a good song.
I think I gotta charge you for that.
Yeah, man, I need that.
Yes,
we need that right now.
Yes. There's a number of things happening in Grenada, and I know Delbert is here. Toro is listening, Ken is listening, and there's Margaret out there, and I wanted Margaret to come in here tonight. I think Margaret, I think you still have the link. So I think you could come and join the conversation. Both you and Ken and Toro could come into. I could call in Toro if you want to make a contribution. Again, the number is 437 980 7467 for anyone who wanted to make a contribution to the conversation tonight. Then when we started off with the NDC's new line of march for leadership. All right, the CV and the bio and all this stuff you're talking about for becoming a candidate in the new NDC leadership. Delbert spoke of it a little bit, but I want you, before we go into anything else, I want you to just introduce yourself, and I want to hear your views on that particular aspect of the new line of march, so to speak, for the NDC. Go ahead.
All right, thank you again for having me on, my brother, and for those of you watching and taking part. My name is Charles. I'm pretty much known here on this program. With respect to the move by the NDC to come out, particularly with a clean slate or a new slate of candidates, the vetting process and how they go about the selection of potential candidates or caretakers and all of that. We know there sort of keeping things to the vest, tight, but they are scrubbing clean. Right now in Grenada, there is a need for change. We have to make sure that we don't get, people being implanted into the NDC from the NNP or other parties who are not genuinely there to support, right, the new leadership or the new slate of candidates. And that happens in politics quite a lot. We call them plants. People are planted and into your organization, not necessarily looking after your best interests. So there is a whole lot of stuff going on right now at this moment. And in addition, there are leakers that whatever decisions are being taken, Mr. Warm is going to get it ahead of a lot of people in the NDC. Who is it that is bringing, the information out? I cannot tell you. So what I can say is that they are sort of like tightening the screws a little bit. So they organize the party the best way they can. And in due course, I believe in due course, things would work out. But for right now, some people might be uncomfortable. They don't get the necessary information that they want to get. And sometimes, it could be troubling. But behind the scenes, I could tell you, from what I know, from behind the scenes, they are doing it with the best interest of Grenada at heart.
Before Delbert come in on this, I want to ask you a question though, because I've read extensively on a number of issues surrounding this. One of which, I never have seen Sandra Ferguson's paper on the leadership and the new line of march and the new vetting process for candidates. How do you think that would change the outcome of elected persons in an election? Does one have to have a CV qualification necessary to become a good candidate to vie for a constituency?
I don't. That's a very big question. That's a good question. I understand. Let me tell you, and I'm a member now of the NDC, right? Officially, okay?
Right.
But I'm speaking now for me.
As Dennis Chance, yes.
Right? On an individual basis. I think we have to marry the old with the new. All right? We need the experience of the old with the new hands coming in. And, I would say, let them work together. Okay? There is a lot we can learn from those who have been there before, right? Maybe the younger folks will have the energy, and so forth. But the guidance, the patience, the wisdom, that the older heads had, we have to tap into that. So I want to see that even if somebody may not have a certain level of education or whatever, exposure and all of that, but if they have a good heart to put country first and work hard, you don't need to have a PhD in, I don't know, astronomy or whatever to make you a good candidate. Look, we have a guy who is a mathematician with a PhD screwing up the country right now.
Right.
So I believe we should probably place less emphasis on all the technicalities and so on and so forth. And, go for folks that, they have the heart, they would put in the hard work, the vision and all of that to move Grenada from point A to point B.
Well, you think,
My view.
the old-fashioned way of, from my point of view, from where I look at it, I think it would be a great idea that the people in the constituency go through the people and see who is best suited, the person that is more compassionate, the person that has been on the ground working for years with them to represent them. and not some PhD from somewhere just come back in the community and want to run in the community because and the selection process say okay he's qualified, he have a PhD in that in environmental science and so on, and he's I mean I can understand the bio, I can understand the people in the community saying I think that this guy could be for 30 years I know this guy, he's been working hard with the party, he's been doing a groundwork here, he's been mobilizing and working with people. I think he'll be a good candidate. Let's say for example let's say we use Victoria for example, Raphael Paul, who always been on the forefront, always organizing and stuff like that. And now he doesn't have the criteria, CV criteria. He will not be able, he will not be entitled to make an application because he doesn't have a proper CV to become a candidate to dethrone the incumbent in the area. I mean,
And that is a good comment. I understand that. I mean, I know Pablo pretty well, and he has been there for a lot of years. So I believe it's a work in progress. Sometimes you start out just like in a negotiation from one point, but it doesn't mean that you cannot move to the center or even to the left of center or the right of center.
Right.
We go along as is growing pains,
Right.
You learn as you go. It's a new, set of kids on the block, if I could put it that way. And sometimes they try something one way or the other to see how it works out. But I don't think that they are so hard-nosed that they wouldn't make the necessary compromises and adjustments, as we go along. So that is something I personally I've been watching, and I'll make my comment. But as I said, in my capacity as an individual, not as an NDC person.
Right. The number of issues that have been surfacing, and persons who in the diaspora who have been making claims that look, these guys are misstepping too often. The second big one. How do you correct those stuff? What kind of who is advising them on those decisions? Where are they getting their advice from? Who are the political advisors? Who can see beyond that and make the necessary adjustments going forward? Keeping your card close to your chest is one thing, but in Grenada, it's impossible to really keep your hands close to your chest in politics. I mean, almost everybody knows everybody in Grenada. You know what I mean? So I hear something from the party, I'll tell them, but I'll tell Dennis, and it happens. So it not necessarily be somebody planted in there, just a genuine person just share a genuine piece of information with them, but as a long-standing member of NDC, look, boy, this is what happened in there. How do you stop those kind of things? I mean, how Judge Wong get those information? Some part wasn't satisfied with the decision. I mean, it is always like that. Somebody within the circle is not satisfied with with that kind of operation. So I'll back over there, but.
Well, listen, I don't think Dennis addressed the core issue. He sidestepped it. He's been diplomatic.
I understand now. You're recovering NDC. He's a new NDC member. So
okay, Dennis, I can't get in trouble. I cannot get in trouble. I can't. God knows.
Dennis, but he's a recovering NDC. Okay, he's recovering. He's not fully back yet. He's recovering. So you have to kind of give him the medication that will make him fully recover. Okay, so
I did not. Okay. Let me put it to you. Let me put it to you this way. Honestly speaking, I try to sidestep the question, but it's tricky for me, right? I would say that I hope that, and this is genuine, over time, all the kinks would be worked out. I am hopeful, I'm excited for them, I would be campaigning for them, and all of that, okay? I mean, you see my activities on Facebook, what I'm doing. And you put me on the spot right here, but I believe that things would work out. Pablo's situation concerns me, but I believe the necessary compromises can be made and changes can be adapted. Changes would come. That is how I look at it. But don't pressure me too much.
No,
It's
no, I
sensitive.
won't. I won't. You're young. You're young. You're first blood. Go ahead, Delbert.
Actually, no history of that. I was told by a very credible source that when Mr. Mitchell sets his mind on something, whether he's wrong or right, it's impossible to change it. Right? That is not a good trait, a political trait. And one person who I know is ferociously opposed to NNP and has been a long-standing NDC member and knows him fairly well, has said he's not trading one Mitchell for the other. But that's neither here nor there. The reality is that they have botched their coming out party, so to speak, right? They post a set of pictures that are so completely and bogusly staged. Now, everything in politics is about optics, right? So it's important that he be seen out in the public. But for God's sake, don't make the pictures so staged. Let it seem genuine. People can see through this thing. And the two big decisions that has been made or is pending or has been addressed since the leadership, they have misstepped on both. So what does that say? You know, that St. David situation should have been handled, you know, before the convention, okay? And in any event, we should have never had a political leader and deputy political leader from the same constituency. That was a major political faux pas. And now this issue is going to cement in the minds of lots of our people the idea that NDC is a party that just looks out for the elites. I know this young lady who comes from a historically Gary family, Gary Wright family, and transitioned into supporters of NNP. She is the only member she's the first member of her family to have completed secondary and tertiary education. And the family adores her. They worship the ground that she walks on, and deservedly so, because she has made a real effort to pull her family together and to pull them out of poverty. And I know there have been many times when younger ones, nieces and nephews in the family, that she has tutored and has gone on to do very well at the secondary level. And during the 2018 election, we reconnected, and I knew we had her vote, but I was after the household because there was about 14 or 15 people in that family that she would have easily been able to influence. And she tried everything, but she could not. They listened to her on everything but her politics. And it was very simple. It said, you cannot call people fools, stupid, idiot, dependent, all the negative terms that NDC operatives use to describe struggling people. And in a sense, once the elections are held, we are not NDC and NNP anymore, we're Grenadians. So there are many people who live on very little per day in Grenada, right? And they depend on government handouts and so forth. And because we have a situation that has not brought those kind of social and economic benefits in an honest way to the people in need, you have political patronage existing at the very highest level. But I am not going to fault the people, because if you have 2 or 3 children at home, and you have to feed them, one going to secondary school in St. George's, the other one probably going in St. Andrews or in St. Patrick, you tend to make compromises in your life. And make sacrifices. And what the Mitchell administration has done masterfully over the years is identify these people, identify that as a weakness to them, weakness of them, and put them on a string, so to speak. So they use those things to intimidate them. They basically using funds. I know young people who got into the Imani who had to give sexual favors. Brother Maitland was talking about that earlier, right? Or people who actually had to, there were people watching as close as it was possible to ensure that they voted the way that they were supposed to vote in the last. So if you have that sort of pre-intimidation and told that categorically, if you don't support the government, if you don't support the NMP, you're going to lose your that $700,000 per month that you're getting. That's in many ways, sustaining the family. You will go along, you know. And when we have our operatives who castigate these people and say the worst things about them in the most negative way, then turn around when the election is called and expect them to support us, they are not. And that's what happened in that family. And she said, you know, she said her grandmother told her that. It was a family meeting. She called a family meeting to really get them this time to come out and support the NDC. And the grandmother led the charge. That there's no way she could do it. And the rest of the family went with her. She said, because all year they have the worst things to say about me when I'm trying to hold this family together, when I'm trying to feed the family. The words matter, and what we say, how we call people, how we reference them, how we categorize them. We, you know, about 50 plus 1, but NDC has a tradition of making it 50 minus, 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 minus. So,
well, I'll make a little comment on that, because as I said, going forward, we're in a new era right now. COVID, we have a lot of challenges. We have a collapse of the traditional tourism industry, the way we know it. We have big money politics in Grenada with a billionaire from Egypt. The landscape, I have been in Grenada twice. Last year, I went twice. Okay, I'm about to go again and look at the lay of the land. So, and I stayed a good while down there. In fact, I spent 3 months, a little bit over that, in Grenada. And as you know me, traveling length and breadth of the whole place, from Camahan Park all the way up to, you know, Sotés and all of that. Been around all through Victoria, Guelph, Renville Jail, Wheelies, the whole 9 yards, doing my work. So I have a good sense of what is going on and what needs to go on. I could safely say, though, in terms of, let's say, operatives misspeaking, probably not being wise and probably condemning a needy money recipient and all of that. I don't support, degrading them. They're probably in a situation where they need a little help, a little handout, or whatever the case might be. Condemn that. The way I look at it is I see the glass as half full or half empty. With respect to Imani, if we want to look at it, let's compare apples to apples and not oranges. We had a certain minister who we call Minister Wood for Wood. So when we compare stuff, we must compare like stuff. If you have to give up sexual favor, continue getting your money checked, whatever little job you get, and so forth. Those traffic wardens and all of that. I mean, I could name him, but you guys know who I'm talking about. He's from St. Patrick's. I don't have to name him. You know who I'm talking about. Mr. Wood for Wood. And as we just had previously on the program, other government ministers and security for the Prime Minister involved in all sorts of, acts against, Grenadian people. So there is a lot of bad to go around and blame too. But I want to say that when you're just starting an organization, until you, and in fact, you haven't been there before, you never ran before or anything like that, until you really get your feet on the ground, you would make a little bump here and there. You're gonna hit your toe on a stone or on a rock. That is expected. You'd have some little bumps in the road. You just have to be able to adapt, to change quickly. You make a mistake in this direction, you can turn your course right and correct. So what I'm hearing here tonight, I'll make it a point to voice that concern. I'm glad that you invited me. If it is that strong, and find ways in which, as I said, I'm going down home in a couple of weeks, and I'll be down there for a bit, right? To find ways we can sort of correct that before it becomes a problem. But even the Prime Minister, I mean, look at, they say a fish rots from the head. In terms of name calling and all of that, where he call another NDC leader or Prime Minister Tillman dunce. You cannot run a selfish shop, smoking shop and all of that. I mean, there is a lot to go around. So I want us to not focus on the little missteps along the way right now as they kind of like right the ship, not focus on the little blunders, and let us focus on seeing the glass half full and correct.
I think the general consensus in Grenada is to get rid of the NNP. I mean, everybody wants to see that happen.
John,
Yeah.
We all agree on that. But where's the bold? Where's the proposal? Where are the proposals?
I have them.
Where's that bold plan?
The plan is in. Go on the website,
That's not a plan.
www.ndcgrenada.org, and read. I have studied it.
That didn't work. It didn't work. That's an old plan.
No, you're gonna work this time. Trust me. I'm going home, bro. It's gonna work. On Tuesday, I'm gonna be doing Black History Month, right? Here, and for Grenada, actually in Atlanta, Fox News. That's gonna be big. And it's at 6 o'clock, and I'm gonna do that. What I'm saying is that we have people who decide it is about time we go back and reclaim our island. I think a lot of us here in the diaspora that want to go back.
I think that is a kind of a, you see, one of the things that often happens in politics, and I think we have to come to understand that this euphoria of getting rid of NNP to replace without a concrete plan. I mean, because we want to change. Deacon is a new politician, not necessarily a young person. He's a young politician, and we cannot use youth alone, youth and young, to make the change happen. We need to also bring in and win over a lot of the NNP supporters, the older ones, and the 22,000 people that did not vote in the next election. So the focus then should be guided towards the 22,000 that did not vote, and that 33,000 that voted for the NNP. How are we going to take away that into the new NDC camp and regain the support of those that they lost after the last election? So there's a lot of work that have to be done, and it's not just social media working. Foot soldier on the ground, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, four eyes meeting people, and not only having press conferences to make the change happen. Is really on the ground work need to be done fast and furious. So as much as we want the change to happen, we need to have that element of foot soldiers on the ground. You know, and I know there are a lot of young people excited about Deacon coming on board, and everyone excited about the change and the new NDC. But we need to do more than just the excitement about Deacon being there. There's more than that need to happen, and we cannot just hopefully think that because Deacon is new, everybody go vote NDC and Kit could just be okay. Kit is not going to lay back, lie down, play on ostrich, and let this thing happen. It's not going to
Well,
happen.
let me just butt in a little bit.
It's a lot of work.
I'll tell you from what I know, he doesn't have a shot right now if he calls the election. A few weeks ago on Junior George, right? I don't know if you looked at it, right? I was the one who spoke from Georgia. It was me. In that mock election, let's say you cast your vote today, Deacon outperformed Keith 500 and something to over 100.
Okay.
By a margin of 5-1, and that was just
that was
the
a
guy
poll.
just coming.
Yeah, and Junior George, let me tell you something.
Junior George, right along.
Yeah, but that's not a poll. You can't take that.
No, we know that. We know that. I'm not saying it is. We know that. But what I'm saying to you, I get information from what is going on the ground on a daily basis. And I'm not going to divulge more than that.
I'll ask you this question.
Okay, go ahead.
NDC saying that they can win.
Huh?
So we need to win 8 constituencies to form the government. Tell me which is the 8 constituency right now that you think NDC can carry.
Well, hold on. This is a little premature.
No.
Hold. I just
chance if election now.
No, the party is organizing and forming. I don't know if you are in touch with the chapter in New York. There's a lot of things going on. I myself had conversation just yesterday, all the way from Grenada. I won't mention who, but somebody very high. Hold your horses. What I'm saying to you is we want foot soldiers on the ground. Nobody in recent history, right, in Grenadian politics has hit the ground running, campaigning. Or they went in your village in Chantimel. All in the night, people came out and they were not leaving, right? He just came out from not only Telescope, from Cafe, the area around Latant, St. Davis, and all over the place. The man is everywhere and loved by the people. He is not sitting.
That's what the 5 or 10 people on social media would have us believe. But I'm going to go back to my.
Well, you seem to be a doubter. I am going to get video and I'm going to show you.
I want to go back to one thing here because
he is much more than 5 in your village in Chantimel. I'll get a video and I'll send it to you. It is way more than 5%.
I had the video while it was happening, my brother.
Yeah, but that being said, Dennis, the last election too, the NMP on the same Junior George show, the poll shows that there will be seat that will be won by NDC, and they lost all. You know, I can't use Junior George polling as a credible,
No. Nobody's saying it is a scientific. No, we are not saying that. We just, look, the party is not
immediately discredited.
Huh?
If it's not, then it should be immediately discredited.
Nobody made the representation that this is a scientific polling. You brought that up. Nobody made that. I just told you what happened in terms of the excitement, the people casting their vote, the people calling in support.
Yeah.
You could ask Junior yourself. I saw it. I took part in it. Right? So this is.
And here's
listen. I think Toro does make a point here. Toro say you should I think you're referring to using Junior George poll, using NMP quoting poll from Hard Talk to justify the leading in the poll. But however, having said that though, NMP turned winners still in that as well. But I want to take a commercial and come right back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
In due time, the polls will open, and democracy will call on us, to make a choice.
A choice between prosperity and false promises.
We all desperately crave change and progress, but progress favors the prepared.
What does it mean to be prepared?
It means to get registered.
Voting is your right, but you can only take part in the process if you are registered.
Registration is the first individual move you have to take if you want to contribute to the collective effort of national transformation.
Registration is how you can ensure your voice is heard.
Registration is a step in the right direction to bring benefits to our people.
To experience meaningful change.
Registration and voting is the only way to actualize our vision.
Our vision of more jobs and opportunities.
Our vision of better health and a robust agricultural sector.
Our vision of prosperity and nation building.
The ink we must use to rewrite our destiny.
To start a new chapter in our nation's history.
Is in the voters' booth.
And only the registered.
And only the registered.
And only the registered have access.
Change begins with registration.
Get registered today.
To get registered, visit your parliamentary electoral office in your constituency. For assistance with registration, call 435-1817 or visit our website at www.bringthevote.com.
My greatest gratification comes from seeing success of others. And that is the sole reason why I've entered politics and why I've offered myself to serve. Because as a public servant, as a politician, you should be obsessed with the success of others. You should be obsessed with giving opportunity to others. And you should be obsessed with the collective success of your nation.
All right, we're back. There's Chaz and Delbert Batiste, and to all of you listening to us outside on the World Wide Web, on Gemfm Radio across the world. This is Gemfm. I'm your host, the Sheriff, yours truly, John Calise. And tonight, again, we have an open discussion. This is the first one for the year. I've been off for 3 weeks of the radio, almost 4 weeks, almost a month, yes, of the radio. And I'm back here tonight, very first show for the year. And my very first official show for the year. I've been on this morning, the Caribbean Connection. Delbert wasn't able to make it this morning. I think he had a jet lag situation from England. I think he had too much tea from the Queen, couldn't make it back here in time to be on the shows. Tex missed him, and Doris missed him, and Magadoon asking about you. See, everybody asking about Delbert. Jet lag, the last 3 weeks of jet lag. Can you imagine? And sipping on red rose tea.
I mean, I was savoring my London trip. Thank you for
look at that, And so we're gonna continue having fun. I hope in next week I want to talk about a number of things, because I also want to talk about one thing before we go tonight. I really want to talk about the minister made a comment again about the hand that's feeding us as it relates to the Chinese. That is another thing that really came up again as we responded to comments about the budget and the Chinese that feeding us. Yes, and our children should learn to speak Chinese. I have no problem with that. I think it's a very good idea, because they are a world emerging economy. But when she made the point that the hands are feeding us, like, I don't know what you guys think about it. I want to hear from you guys tonight too, as related to all of those things. So
yeah, we should. I mean, listen, I'm not a China. I'm a China skeptic. All right, not opposed to China, but the reality is that is China's rise inevitable? In 2018 and 2019, China growth contributed to 40% of the growth around the world. In 2021, it was down to 25%. China has real problems that we don't hear about, that we don't talk about, that is not immediately known. So the question, we have to ask the question, whether or not Grenada, we can hitch our bandwagon entirely to China, or to have serious diplomatic and bilateral relationship with all countries around the world, and to see how the diplomacy And those relationships that we forge and build can eventually benefit our people. Hitching our band or wagon just to the Chinese initiative is a mistake, you know. And while a lot of the stories put out there that are anti-China, that are put out by Western
Western machineries, propaganda machineries.
The ones who actually colonized us and robbed us and stole from us.
Thief don't like to see thief with long back, so to speak, right?
So we have to be skeptical. We have to be even more skeptical of them. But you know, China deserves. It's a powerful nation. It's an upcoming nation, but I don't think that their rise is inevitable. I don't think so.
But there's also, I mean, while we the national Chinese, the Mexican and the British and the Americans are reaping havoc in Jamaica as well. You know, they're not just the Chinese. There's other multinational corporations that the American and British own, you know, that is taking over Jamaica as well.
With all the hoopla about investments, for example, in Africa, China is the number one investor in Africa. The United States is.
Yes. And the French government, I mean, I was saying something to somebody, that the French government has the largest military base outside France, close to the uranium mine in Ghana. The US have the biggest drone fleet in Ghana as well. So all of those noises that is being made about China, yes, China is doing their thing, and like Minister says, bring more gazebos, you know, let they come. You know, this is the hand that's feeding us. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to make a quick input from a finance guy. We have to be careful. You know, I don't condemn China or allowing Chinese to come in and invest in Grenada. We, as government, we should be very careful. The contracts we sign, the concessions we give, the tax breaks, and so on and so forth. So if the Chinese get away with a lot of stuff, or the Indian businessmen who don't pay duties on the dock, you don't really blame them. You blame the government for allowing that to happen.
Yes.
You know, pretty much giving away the country. But let me just go back in terms of history. If you study economics, Deng Xiaoping, one of the greatest leaders from China, way back when China was in rags, dirt road, rice paddies, you know what I'm saying? People working collective farms, all dirt. It was education. He sent Chinese abroad by the thousands and thousands to universities abroad, in America, here, in England, study engineering in particular, because they say every 100,000 US students who study law, the Chinese graduate 1 million engineers. So while we study law, the Chinese study engineering. So don't blame them when they steal your patent or they copy your product and they make a knockout out of it. You know what I'm saying? And we go over there with our companies because of cheap labor. So 6 months down the road, they make the same thing and they call it a different name in Chinese and they sell it back to you. Listen to me. These people are smart. If they could get away with something, they would get away with it. But we can learn a lot from the Chinese. I have no problem, okay, teaching my daughter is studying Chinese on her own. She's studying Chinese. That makes sense. It doesn't mean you would give away the island, whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Without any thought to us as Grenadians benefiting first, or give us the opportunity first to own or to invest because they are from China and maybe you get a stadium from them or whatever it is. I don't know. One of the ministers say they pay our salaries or they give us.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs said that
Foreign Affairs,
China feeding us.
They're feeding us.
Feeding us. I also, if my memory serves me right, during the PRG time, they had a relationship with China, all right? and they had bad relations with China. And I tell you, they've been in Grenada, not today, they've been there since then, but they was not that prominent, and they was not given that leeway as they are given now. You know? So to make that statement now, right, is really putting insult to injury, you know, in that sense.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it
not a
doesn't
smart statement to make.
Yeah. And,
No. It's terrible, and I mean we cannot show ourselves as being, you know, we just want to depend, get a handout that somebody feed us.
I think it was Marcus Garvey who said any leadership that cause you to depend on another leadership to feed you does not worth leading you. Yeah?
Yeah, it's lazy politics on the part of the NFP, Kit Mitchell and the NFP. Lazy politics. I'll tell you something else. Okay? I had a show I did a day or two ago out subs. And we have a billionaire in Grenada. That billionaire wants to buy the airport, Maurice Bishop Airport, right? Okay, he has the money. But the attitude in front of government ministers, and everybody jump up and they clapping, yeah. And he talking about he's gonna fire them and all of that if they don't, you know, smile to somebody or whatever, some craziness. And the ministers get up and yes. They are happy with that. But guess what? A certain minister, his wife is an attorney. So you see all the lands from Belmont going down to Grandance and all of that. You know, he tried to get Command Park, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he wants to force the people to sell the land to him.
Yep.
He's going to control a whole squad, all the way going up to BBC. Yeah. He wants everything, right? He has the money, and he has the backing of the government.
Well, okay? You know what? I mean, Heathrow Airport in England is owned by another black guy. Owned that. The guy from, I think, Kenya, Delbert. He owned more than one. He owned the train system in Italy as well. Grenada International Airport needs revamping. There's a lot of work to be done. Does the government have the money to do that? No, I don't think so. But if we take the financing from the Chinese and we allow them to renovate and to do the necessary fix up, how profitable would that airport be? I mean, how much planes that land in Grenada? Where the planes will be coming from? Who do the marketing to allow more planes to drop every 15 minutes? Do we have the capacity to handle the traffic, you know, at the international airport? So all of those little things that is happening, what is it that Grenada has that everybody wants?
Well, let me tell you something. I'll just add
Nigerian, thank you.
Right? Let me add something. The guy figured out that some of the people they were holding back in terms of selling everything, all the land. So you got this minister's wife, attorney.
Yeah.
You know, she is pretending she's the one that is buying. You know, it's like a shell game to turn around and flip it back to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I could call her name right now if I want to. It is shameful. I'm not saying foreigners cannot invest in your country, but in terms of raising funds, John, there is something called floating a bond. It is easy, you know. You could sell shares. There is something called an IPO, initial public offering, right? They do that on Wall Street all the time. I used to take part in that, you know, in the 90s when I was a broker. Okay, so if you want to raise funds, if the whole situation is about raising capital and all of that, you don't think we have Grenadians in the diaspora, you know, or even home who have a little money they could buy, you know, buy some bonds and all of that. You want to fix up the market in town, it has to be the Chinese. You don't think we have Grenadians even abroad for love of country would like to invest? This is the laziest government Grenada has ever seen. They don't think. Just depend, stretch your hand, and get from the Chinese. Well, they're feeding us. So let them do what they want to do. This is crazy. That government got to go. I don't care what your concerns might be. I'll address that. Okay? I'll forward some of the comments made here tonight. But let me tell you something. You're talking about Kit 1 Kid didn't win that election fair and square. We know about voter pardon. We know a lot of stuff that happened just before election. I'm not going to get into that and what Peter David did and all of that. I'm not going to get into that, right? But I'm going to say right now, he's not winning the next one. And I want you guys to join. The website is www.ndcgrenada.org. Register, donate, support. We need your help. We need computers. We need whatever it is you can do. Stationaries, papers, whatever. Donate. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change.
My original question still stands. You say Dr. Mitchell were to call election now, he would not win. And I'm asking, which of the 8 constituencies can NDC carry right now?
I would leave the constituency where he is, he and his mother, right? Distributing a whole lot of food. Probably another strong one might be in the south area there, Peter and all of that. Okay, fine. But up north, the only thing the people in the country have up north, right? Even in your area, St. Patrick West, is debushing and 1 or 2 Imani. There is nothing happening up there in the country.
But I want you to name those constituencies.
What?
You hear?
Let me ask the question a different way. Do you think that the St. Andrews Southwest, Southeast could be won by NDC?
You mean with
Yolan?
Yolan. Look, let me tell you something. I told you, I spent over 3 months home. You did not. I'm going back again, right? I don't think you are coming. In fact, I might even go down next month, right? For now, you want me to tell you which one they're going to win, which one they're going to lose. Let's be realistic. That is not necessary. We have to grown to have that kind of debate. No. We are older than that. We are older than that, bro.
Okay.
We are older than that. We are not talking those kind of talk. That's what children 18 years old. We are older than that. I am telling you, become a part of the change you seek.
That is not the question.
So if you want an answer to make you happy, which 8 the NDC gonna win?
No. I think you're missing the point. This is not the point. I'm appearing as an analyst, somebody who's looking in from the outside. Okay, so I'm trying to be as objective as is possible, and I'm saying I've heard other NDC operatives say that Dr. Mitchell is not going to win the next election. And when I say, okay, fine, then tell me which of the 8 constituencies you can carry.
That is not an appropriate question, Delbert. You don't ask a question when the party is in formation right now. We have everything going for us on the ground, right? They are selecting the caretakers and the people. You have a lot of people interested in running, right? Yes, we have the sentiment there.
You guys are putting the cart before the horse. You're saying
you're doing that. No, you are asking a question. Okay, Posiueda is on board with Deacon. Okay, I know the situation you talk about in St. Davis. As I said, I don't want to start talking as an NDC.
This was in the local papers. It was not my issue.
Yeah, but don't be distracted by all the noise.
My question. You sidetracking the question because you guys don't have an answer.
No, there is not. Okay, let me put it to you.
Dennis,
you are asking a question.
Hold on.
When all the candidates are not yet selected.
Don't say that you can win.
Based on the sentiment on the ground, not who the candidates are right now, because they have not completed that process yet. But in terms of
why are you projecting then that you can win when you don't even know who your candidate's going to be?
That is not the question either.
Okay. So hold on. Let me ask a question here then. Given the present state and the euphoria on the ground, the people.
That's what I'm talking about. People who want to see Keith. Yeah, Keith cannot get 10 persons behind him, no place.
So let me say this. Let me ask this question. I mean, given what you're saying, Dennis, and everybody would want, a lot of people want to see Keith go, right? My question still remains, right? if you are to have an election in next year, next 2 years, the
Well, the next
president
month.
call election next 2 years, is NDC position to win? Decided if we're on the ground, do we have the machinery in place to contest and win 8 seats?
Yes, I'm saying yes. Forget Victoria,
Okay.
okay? Give Clarice, leave her alone over there. Okay,
I
Miss
know.
Shrimp Farm. Forget Keith in his area. He built a little, I don't know, is it a tennis court or whatever it is and all of that. His mother give out stuff to the people. They come and they beg, they get a little something. Fine. Things are hard in Grenada. They get a little something to eat. Of course, they're going to vote Keith, right? Okay. Remember, he has family in Montmorris and all those areas there, right? Maybe he grew up in that neighborhood and all his relatives. They're going to vote him. Okay. He's related to the Campbells and blah, blah, blah. He's big people. They're going to vote him. He's going to win his seat. We know that, right? So that's 2 already. Okay. Okay. With respect to Peter and his position, all right, there are a lot of guys in Grenada who benefited from that CBI. They sold a ton of passports and they have passport money.
Including
we know politics in Grenada. Hold on. We know politics in Grenada.
Dennis, you've been blatantly dishonest, including the new NDC political leader. He was a CBI agent also.
Why you don't let me finish talk?
All right, hold on.
But what I'm saying is, I said, we have a situation where that CBI, okay, was not started by Deacon if at all. He was able to get, I don't know, investors in. You know, I am not aware that he gave diplomatic immunity or whatever it is, ambassadorship or whatever to anybody. If that happened, I would like to know. I would like to learn. I am not.
There's an article out there, Dennis. I think I'll share it with you, by Sandra Ferguson, who gave a total outline on the leadership of Grenada. And one lady kind of tried to attack her. Who is Sandra Ferguson? What has she done for Grenada? Well, I had to reply to her and ask her really, do you know Sandra Ferguson? Do you understand who and know who Sandra Ferguson really is and her contribution to Grenada? Before you make that statement, I wanted to read that article because one of the things that need to be done is for us all to get that, to have enough information to make intelligent decisions, right? Because one track record and doesn't mean that because Deacon is new and we want change, and a lot of people want to see Keith go, you know, and we want to see a change in Grenada for real. We want a real change to take place in Grenada. But when one go to match up and bring out all this stuff, because I tell you, this election, whatever it is, wouldn't be an easy walk in the park for NDC. We have to do a lot of work, and a lot of stuff that will be coming up. A lot of people will be listen to me.
You cannot get nothing to come up worse than what we have. Let me just tell you something. You have, I don't see any place in the Caribbean where you have a prime minister. Okay? Well, I don't want to go there. But I do know if you are almost 80 years old, you shouldn't be having a 30-something-year-old girlfriend. I am talking as a Grenadian. I am not an NDC right now.
Right.
Okay? As a person.
You cannot do that.
I am not talking as an NDC.
That ageism again.
Okay? Now, besides that, a security detail barred a certain gentleman from going into his own house. Why? Because a certain person was in there with his wife. I could get deep and dirty if I want to. So you're talking about the sexual exploitation of young kids and all of that for Imani program. I could talk about Mr. Wood for Wood, but I want to rise above the you know, I don't want to talk about that.
There lies the problem, because you guys say you don't want to talk about it, but you keep talking about it.
But you
no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
No, but one of the things that will happen, whether we like it or not, And as much as I want to see Kid go, I want NDC to put up a strong resistance, a strong front. And they have to cover all the bases, because a lot of bases is not covered yet. And I hope that we'll get to that before the election cycle comes. And
it will happen.
And that's my hope. Yeah?
It will happen.
And I
there
want
is
to see that
unity.
happen.
There is no division or divisiveness. You know, you're going to get flamethrowers from outside. Of course, you're going to get some who are, you know, some malcontents and all of that. And so for that's just politics. People are going to say, I don't like him because of this or that or the other. You know, they're going to attack and so forth. That is life. We know that. We are old enough. We are experienced. But what I'm saying is, the greatest chance Grenada has to move forward is under the committee. I am throwing 190% behind him. In fact, I am going down and campaign with him. And I know for sure, I have seen people, how they relate to this guy is because I am not saying he is Jesus Christ. He probably might have done some things. If it is true that he also took part in the CBI, you know, nobody exploited the finances of Grenada. You have people paying and buying all sorts of immunity, all sorts of ambassadorship and all of that. Can't speak English, never eat fig, don't roast, you know, don't roast breadfruit, don't know how to plant corn. All of that. Big ambassador representing Grenada all over the place. What happened now? Huh?
They couldn't pick up on a map.
Man, they don't know where Grand Nancy is. You know what I'm saying? What happened to this pure Grenada guy from the TGM? He melted. Where is he? In Trinidad? Huh? What happened to Patrick Antoine? Deacon Mitchell is the best hope we have right now. I want everybody to register. Go to the website, www.ndcgrenada.org, and help become a part of the chain.
All right.
Just read the website. It is very, very well done, well developed. You're going to see all his ideas about CBD and the issue with the marijuana, getting the youth to go back to work and all of that. I don't have to tell you. Just read it, right? I've studied it myself, okay? So the little hiccups along the way right now, don't worry with that. Let us see the bigger picture ahead and let us shoot for that.
Listen, while I'm a big supporter of CDB is not bringing prosperity to Grenada. So let's be realistic.
We are realistic, but if we go with your brand of realistic, we're not doing anything. We're gonna just lie down and play dead.
No, we're not going to lie down and play dead. But these are less than mediocre proposals.
Okay, so let me ask you, what is it? Grenada doesn't have gold. We don't have rare earth materials. We don't have diamond. What is it we have to compete on a world stage? The globalization of the world economy, things move so fast. You know what I'm saying? We move from brick and mortar. Things are happening on the internet and all of that. This new economy right now within which we live, what it is we have to compete on a global level. You tell me. I'm going to ask you a hard question.
That's not a hard question at all. So that's not a hard question at all. And
okay, good. Easy.
CDB is not going to bring prosperity to Grenada.
No, forget CBD. Forget that. I'm asking you.
I have to answer in my way, Dennis. I have to answer in my way.
I subtract CBD. I was just giving you an idea. I don't say that's the only thing. I was giving you an idea. But take that out. Take that out.
Here's my plan. Here's my plan. It's not a plan. We're still going to be part of the tourism business, right? The idea that Grenada will be able to completely walk away from tourism is a fallacy. The question is, how do we develop a tourist product that reflects who we are as a people and that brings the most benefit to our people, all right? That's the challenge moving forward. But we will never be out of the tourism business. The other thing that I would focus in is to recalibrate the education system and develop what is popularly known around the world as a skills-based education system. So there's a lot of focus on academics in Grenada and in the Caribbean in general. but we're lacking tremendously in skills. We cannot. There are many things that could be done in Grenada, that should be done in Grenada, that are not being done in Grenada right now. So we have to better train our people. We have to develop a proper health infrastructure, including possibly health tourism, which is a huge business, okay? And I don't remember who said it recently. There was a post on Facebook about it, about building a new city in St. David's. I'm on record. John can back me up. I've been talking about
that already. About years ago, I've been talking about that.
But not just building a city, building a new green city that's reflective of what we need to be doing. So it can become not just a model in Grenada, but a model for the Caribbean and developing countries. That that in itself is going to become an economic vehicle for growth and sustainable development. We have to approach agriculture. But again, you see all this thing. Every time something goes wrong in Grenada, well, we have to go back to agriculture. There was a time when we were growing a lot more than we are growing now, and we weren't prosperous. So the challenge for what we do with agriculture moving forward is not that we're going to be able to compete with one big farm in Costa Rica or Nicaragua or any one of the Central American countries. We'll never be able to compete with them. Okay? So the question for us is, how do we redefine what agriculture means to us, and with a view towards providing us greater food security?
All right, let me just help you on that, right? You tried. But I'll tell you, okay, you talk about agriculture. It is very important that we look at food security. So we don't have to depend on St. Vincent, maybe one more eruption with Soufriere or whatever it is, again, then, we fall into hard times because the ash and the dust and all of that affect the quality of whatever it is we buy from over there, okay? So food security is very important. What you are talking about when we produce so much and we never made much money out of it is because we did not add value. And this is an idea I'm going to bring home.
I was coming to that. That was the next point.
I want to interject here a little bit.
Let's be clear, and let's stop lying to people. Grenada is not going to become a prosperous nation through agriculture. Not going to happen.
No, you're saying what I did not say. That's putting up a straw man.
No. You say that. I'm saying that. I'm saying that on my own. I'm saying let's be abundantly clear.
We have to be able to feed ourselves. We have good soil. We have to be more productive. We could process. Right back in the revolution, we had agro-processing, very important as one of the hallmarks or gains of the revolution. We have to go back to that. Even before the revolution, Grenada used to produce soap out of coconut, copra. We used to produce a lot of stuff, right? We have to go back, and I know who sold it. Okay, I know who sold it.
Okay, right? I want to go back to something here we were talking about earlier on, and there's some comments in the chat I want us to pay attention to. We're gonna get here by 11 o'clock, but I want to go back to Margaret said something. I want to start from Margaret coming up here. Margaret made mention, let me see, Margaret, Lincoln, coming Prime Minister, okay. He said, Lincoln said, incoming Prime Minister Deacon has found his finance minister. I think I'm referring to you, Dennis. Bob Matthews said, Dennis, be careful. Heard that the Pegasus software is in the Caribbean. So Margaret is saying here, people may not want to see KIT, but it does not mean that they want to see NDC either. The chances are that people may just decide to sit on the fence and do nothing. Lincoln replied to Margaret and says, and Margot, fence sitting does not help NDC. They need to add to their voters' numbers. Yeah. Margaret says here, I don't get why people are knocking Deacon for being a CBI attorney. As an attorney, he is required to provide the best representation for his clients. Has he ever failed to provide less than stellar representation to any of his clients? Was he unscrupulous in his dealing with clients? There are NDC members and leaders who have not represented CBI clients and yet are dishonest and unscrupulous in the dealings with their fellow Grenadians. Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on. Dishonest and unscrupulous in the dealings with their fellow Grenadians and clients. If you are going to criticize Deacon for representing CBI clients, then you have to call out the dishonest NDC members as well. Anything less is hypocrisy and disingenuous. That was Margaret here. However, I want to go back to another piece. I think Sandra Davis is replying to Margaret's comment. Only fools that will sit and not try to get out of a bad situation. She was referring to Margaret. People may not want to seek it, but also don't want to see anything. So I think those
and there is the problem that we spoke about earlier on.
Yes. Hold on. Let me go down the line. Margaret will respond to Comrade Lincoln here. That's correct. NMP has its co-supporters, and so does NDC. What NDC needs to do is convert the fence sitters to their side. It is something that they have never done. And a reply here again, I think it's Margaret, replying to Sandra Davis. That's your opinion, and you are entitled to it. But it is exactly that arrogance and disdain that will and NDC and other 15th youth to favor of NDP. If they are not careful, keep on insulting and ageism train.
There are too many missteps they're making. And like I tell them, it's the same 12 people on Facebook and recycling that message that they're ready to appoint Deacon already Prime Minister before the first vote has been cast.
What I'm saying is, if your pessimism continues, NDC not winning one seat.
I'm not a pessimist.
Well, no, it's coming out.
No, I'm not a pessimist.
You are how you sound. You
I
are
am
coming out.
I'm asking objective questions. You said categorically about 15 minutes ago that if elections were held right now, that Dr. Mitchell would lose in spectacular fashion. You gave him 2 constituents. Said,
I gave him 2, and I gave him Peter.
You got to let me speak my truth.
Yes.
You gave him 2 constituents.
Yeah.
6 constituents in St. George's Northwest and St. Mark's.
Yeah.
But notice that you could not name any other single constituent that NDC would actually win.
They're going to win. With Deacon running, he going to lose in St. David's?
I don't know. I'm asking.
He's not going to lose. He's winning.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let me get back to you.
Where's the other 7? Where are the other 7?
Okay, the 7 coming. Let me go back to something else. Now, I'm going to give you the other 7. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to me, I'm going to say to you, in New York alone, the population of Grenada is around 110,000, okay? In New York alone, in terms of Grenadians and children, we have over that in New York alone.
Yeah.
From what I've been told about 2 days ago, just New York alone.
That's that's popular information.
So I'm going to tell you where I'm getting at, okay? Let's look at Toronto. Let us look at England. We have a lot of Grenadians in Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, and so forth, right? Okay, good. Now, if we in the diaspora here, right? You know the brain drain when we all left and came, if we have a reverse flow, right? Okay. If we have because right now a lot of us want to go back home and retire, go on Granance Beach, wake up, I don't know, on Lassages probably, and so forth. In the morning, nice breeze and so forth. If we go back home with our pension, 1, with our 401k, 2, with whatever assets we have in the market, we can sell and take our capital gains. 3, you know, our expertise in whatever it is, whatever skill sets we have, so we can go and mentor and train the youths in the communities where, for instance, I grew up, Conference, La Poterie, Tivoli, right? Be a role model. I don't know, start a cricket team or some kind of construction group, collective, right? Let us do farming, whatever it is, a cooperative or something like that. Whatever it is, we could do. With all the monies that we have coming in, and when you go home and you get your little money, you convert US, you get like $2.60, right? Just imagine the amount of Grenadians. If the government could just improve the healthcare a little bit and entice us to return and make a contribution to the spice land, boss, we're doing well.
But then it's
and this is what I intend to do. We have to make it something cool to go back and help.
Building a health infrastructure was part of my 6 ideas. So, but the reality,
the money is to do it. When we go back home,
but the reality
with a whole lot of cash.
The reality is that very few of us will return.
Because
yes. not because, irrespective of healthcare, irrespective of other conditions.
Not
very
true.
Few, well, I mean,
not true. You go to Plains. You go to Plains St. Patrick's, for instance. You're from St. Patrick's. You go to Plains. Oak Lane, River Sally, that area here, Batway, all of that. You see so many big, what word should I say, mansions or mega houses, whatever, all empty. Because after the people reach a certain age and they need to get the health checkup, right? They have to run back England. My uncle, the guy in that band, Grenada, may God bless you, right? He's a brass man. That's my brother, my mother's brother, younger brother. He's right in Tivoli there next to the bakery.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. In England, every time he has a little problem, little diabetes and stuff like that, he cannot get treatment back home. He had to run back to England. He has to be careful, nothing prick his or whatever, blood come out. Maybe it would not, heal properly. He's so scared. He cannot get treatment in Grenada. So he goes to England back and forth. So
I have a brother who returned to England about 5 years ago after retiring in Grenada in 2003, so that's a real issue.
Right. So if they fix that, okay, a lot of folks would come back. My other uncle, let me tell you who he is. I don't know if you know the guys who are involved in the barrels of grease with guns in it. Wadali. Wadali is my first cousin.
Okay.
Right? So his father is my mother's brother. Okay? So he had this big house in Lansapine and all of that, looking down and so on and so forth. Every minute he died now though. He has to run back to England. I'm saying, if we could fix that health situation, they would come back home. You go to Coquelin and try to go get a house there to buy. Everybody gone.
It's going to take more than that to return.
Let me tell you something. Grenada need a bigger fix-up than that. It's not as simple as it is, There's a lot more work to be done than just that.
But it would be an incentive. If your health situation, you're going down in age, and we don't have anything in the hospital, not even bandage, right? The nurses are leaving because England is giving them documents. They get landed, they go over there. As soon as they're ready, they graduate, they pass the exam, bam, they ship out, right? Or they even come to New York. They get in a job. Why would they stay in Grenada?
Let me just go back to the chat for a while. Sandra Davis is attacking Delbert here again. Delbert is an anti-NDC pretending to be a supporter. On every program, he has never said anything positive. I don't know. Sandra Davis. Well, I know this is not a real name.
Let Delbert answer that.
Yeah.
As far as Sandra is concerned, I'm running for NNP in St. Patrick's West. That's
we know who Sandra is. We know who she is, and
reality is everybody they're afraid to ask tough questions. So everybody has sort of
you know what I find happening. As we all support NDC, okay, and we love to see the change, but you can't just be trolling along without asking the tough question, having honest conversation that will allow them to take a second look at of the operation. Let me tell you something. One of the detriment to any political organization is not having constructive criticism.
Yeah.
You understand? And the thing, because you outspoken about certain things, you're against the party. You're not against the party.
NDC is the only political party I know of, and I follow politics worldwide. They are the only political party I know of around the world that thinks they can win through attrition. The only political party. The minute you criticize, the minute you have a different idea, the minute you decide to be objective.
But not really them, not really. I don't think it's party brass. Some of the vendors in the market that making all the noise. And you have to be careful because they might lose. You see, let me tell you something.
It is the same 12 to 15 people on Facebook ranting and raving every day about this. But when you get down to it and you ask them, yes, I'm sure Sandra is one a big proponent, and I'm listen, she does good work. She's out there advocating and that's good. But everybody's saying we're gonna win. Yeah. Tell me where you're gonna win, because
I have a question for you, Delbert.
Let's take one up. In the United States, right? Because it's not a lot different in Grenada. Our elections now have become sort of presidential elections. People vote for who they think is going to be the best prime minister. That's the reality. So you have the states, the red and blue states that we know going to go the way they're going to go. And then you have purple states, the 6 or 8 purple states where the election in America is decided every 4 years, all right? And the political parties target one. The Democrats target Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Now Arizona and Georgia is in the play. All right. The Republicans do the same thing. So they target the 6 or 8 states. New Mexico sometimes is included. New Hampshire is sometimes included in that. So that's where the war. That's where the political war gets fought. So you're looking at how you're going to get to 270. In Grenada, it's how do you get to 8. So you can't tell me you can win. You can't tell me you will form the next government, but you can't tell me how you get to 8. Then it's a...
No, you're too smart for that. You're too smart. I'm telling you, Ray Cato is going to win. Right? So I'll give you that. So that's 4 now. Ray Cato is going to win, right? And the rest, for now, until I know who... Because I could tell you, the crowd, the enthusiasm, I have a lot of friends down there in Grenada. I just come out on the ground. I keep telling you that. I went one night with a hat on, hiding who I am, and even my dark shades and all of that in the night on a basketball court. And a guy there made me out. I got scared, right? I was opposite the Seabreeze Hotel in that place where they play basketball. And he was saying, man, you're the guy on Facebook that talking about Keith. I'm like, huh? So I didn't know who he was. And he come forward. I say, okay, yeah, so what happened? Well, yeah, man, I like what you're doing. I hate Keith, man. The man ain't doing nothing for us. Another time, I was by the bus terminal. I was going to the fish market to get some fish. I met another lady again. People were just pulling me out. I have no clue who they are.
Yeah, those are
by the bank.
But honestly,
New York suspects. They're all members of the New York Suspect Club.
But hold on there, but I firmly believe, given the honestly that, and I think that a lot of work have to be done by NDC to win the next election. They have a lot of work to be done, a lot of stuff to be done, and Keith would not roll over like this. I think that if the majority of people who are really disenchanted and feel let down and feel they really need a change in Grenada, and they go out to vote, yes, even though NDC put up anybody, any constituency to run, I think because of Deacon and the leadership that they see and what they want in Deacon, they see a different person. I think that might be a game changer that may cause people to vote for NDC and not necessarily for the candidate in the constituency. I think that's what's going to happen, Grader. And I think
that's why I said the election has been nationalized.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but all of that is in the works, in discussions.
And not just for the particular candidate. They will vote for Deacon as the leader.
All of that is happening. As I said, hold your horses, sound a little bit more positive, because positivity sells. Give us the benefit of the doubt. Right?
We have different roles. You are here as an NDC member promoting NDC.
No, I'm Dennis Charles. I told you tonight.
But all your latest posts in recent time on Facebook.
How you know my post? How you see my post tonight?
Talk about the stuff. So don't. You've
been watched. You've been watched. Your shows have been watched on Gemfm. You put your stuff on Gemfm. People watch Gemfm all the time. People say, "This guy." You know what somebody said? You know what somebody said to me? Why do you allow Jens to put your stuff on Gemfm? Why you mean? Why not? Jens is a good guy. He put his stuff on. Nothing wrong with Jens shows. Put that stuff on Gemfm every day. I don't apologize.
I'm not here for that. I'm here to ask questions and procrastinate and pontificate. So that's why.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, I hear where you're coming from, but Deacon is decisive, right? He's meticulous. He's taking his time. He's putting everything the right way it should be, and of course, I know more information should be disseminated, but there is a reason for being tight-lipped and guarded the way he's doing. But I'm saying to you again, trust me, my brother, trust me. I want you to give us some energy on the positive side that this time change would happen. The young people who go out there and have nothing in front of them except the bushing or even get a little money from the Imani, you don't build, that cannot lead to upward mobility.
We don't disagree on that. We don't disagree on that.
Right. So give Deacon and the new ideas he's bringing forward a chance. Give him a chance. Everything is not yet settled. Give him a chance.
Let me tell you something. What we have done, what NDC has done very well over the years, is criticize Keith and to rehash old stories. And
how come you're not saying Keith condemning the NDC and saying all kind of bad things about Tillman and Nazifo? How come your tone is always on the other side?
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
Keith can't criticize Keith. It has to be somebody else. So NDC has done a very good job of doing that. Okay. But what they have not done is put forward a plan that in bite-sized pieces that our friends in Pointsville could understand it and see how it benefits them, as well as the businessman in Point Saline can see that plan and see how it benefits his family also. In elections are always about the future. It's never about the past, as much as we like to think it is. So all that old criticism about Keith, they've saturated.
But you're making criticism about the NDC now. Think about the future.
Oh my God, this is not that complicated.
Well, right. What I'm saying to you now, you're saying from one corner of your mouth one thing, and then the other corner of your mouth is saying another thing. You cannot have it both ways.
Absolutely not. I've been consistent.
Okay. Are you in the pond or are you on the bank? When it comes to the NDC, are you in the pond or are you on the bank?
Hold on, Dennis. I think they're about to go in, will fly down to go and vote for NDC. You will not be voting for Keith. I could guarantee you that.
But he don't sound that way.
No. He did before. He did before. You'll do it again.
Yeah, but let's go down and buy your ticket for you. Let's go down in February or March. Let's go down and buy your ticket.
I'm scheduled to be in Grenada in April, so that's the earliest I could be there. I have another trip coming up to thing, and then I have this big move that I'm working on that, you know, in person, that wouldn't allow me to be in Grenada before April, you know.
Okay. Keep losing the next election. Let me tell you, before I go, the young people we have, I don't want to call Kim on this program, and I don't want to call Ashida, but let me tell you, keep taking blows bad down there with the youths. Yes, they need a little money, but this time, giving them a little bottle of Brongdong, a little bag with a $2 in it, and a green t-shirt, trust me, it's not gonna work. They've been down that road before.
Guess what?
So he could whine as low as he wanna go down, get those Jamaicans to come down and sing some reggae music and think you're gonna win an election.
Let me tell you something that you guys should know. Young people don't vote. They don't vote.
No, this time they're gonna vote.
Well, historically, around the world, for decades and decades and decades, so you say
there's a reason that 20-something
saying that in the upcoming election, that the Canadian electorate is going to break that worldwide cycle of young people talking and complaining.
Yes, I live in Georgia, and I could tell you in the last election what happened here with Warnock and all of that. People were in line long from here to where your eyes can't see to cast the ballot, right? To elect Biden. So what you're telling me cannot happen, it happened here in the last election, the Democrats won. I am saying to you again, be a little bit more positive.
Hold on. One at a time.
Problem with that argument, Dennis. Here's the problem with the argument. Okay? Yeah. Data does not support what you're saying. Biden won Georgia by 0.02%.
No, I'm talking about the Democrats.
No.
I'm not talking about the majority of...
Hold on. Biden won Georgia by 0.02%.
Yes, so, nothing wrong with that. Because So
hold on. So all that people you're talking about there in line, they didn't really...
No, you have a wrong... Look, let me give you some maths. Let me teach you how to do maths. Bro, that's my strong point. That argument you make there fall flat. Hold on.
Look at the data.
Hold. Let me tell you how you calculate that, right? We are in the South, right? This is a southern slave state, okay? Cotton, tobacco, right? And what is it? The sugarcane, slavery, whole South. Pretty much, those were the crops, okay? And then we know about the plantation. We don't have to go back into all of that because I think you know Black history just like me. To get in Georgia or in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Louisiana, in Florida, a Democratic majority, we have gerrymandering, we have all sorts of Jim Crow laws on the books and all of that to guarantee Republicans. Huh?
There is no gerrymandering in presidential elections.
No, okay. Well, I'm just explaining how difficult it is, right, for the Democrats.
Guys,
let me make my point.
One thing there. Stop touting that Biden win in Georgia. Bill Clinton won Georgia in 1996, 1992, and 1996 by much wider numbers. So we do like this is the first time this happened in Georgia.
What I'm saying, with all the voter laws that they're trying to put in place to make it difficult for Black folks to stand in line or to cast ballot by absentee means and all of that, right? All of that is making it almost impossible
but hold on,
next election for a Democrat person to win. I'm saying to you, with all of that, Stacey Abrams, forget that. We won Georgia, right? Georgia is not a democratic place. The majority of the people down here, you know how much rednecks we have down here? Come and drive. I could show you around Georgia, some of the areas you don't even want to come out.
Don't bring the elbow down there, please.
But
I'm telling you.
Our rhetoric does not match the data.
If he wins And what I'm saying to you, the Democrats turned out to vote. You are saying they didn't win by God knows a landslide. By how many points? So they didn't come out and vote. I'm not talking about the Republicans.
That's why you have to
Republicans.
Hold on. But hold on, let's focus on Grenada. Let's focus on Grenada. Let us not lose sight of what we're doing here.
Okay.
Because
so
the Grenadian youth is now. I mean, they must make a point that you don't that you don't vote as much as we expect them to do, and this is something that happened. In 1976, the youth population voted, but they had to use a lot of older folks had to get into the polling station for what happened in Grenada, but they still the Alliance still didn't win the general election. However, given that present state of what we in the euphoria, that youth movement, that youth thing going on here now, I don't think that the youth arm of the NNP will just walk away from NNP just like that. Alright? That's one thing. The NDC has to do a lot of work, despite the section of youth expectation now of change. Is that any evidence that the shift of NNP youth movement moving over to NDC? That's another thing, because the 22,000 that did not vote, how much percent of that was of the youth population, right? One has to go to all of that, right? So the youth are excited now, yes, but how will that translate into vote on election day?
Let me go.
That's my concern.
Let me go first. I want to say again that I am super excited and very optimistic about the chances of the NDC, right? Number one, the last election was won on a whole ton of lies. We had a shrimp farm. You remember the Shotney lady? Dressed up in Shotney clothes, and she could jump and all of that, you know? And a whole bunch of lies. $52 million disappeared.
Yeah.
You understand? And she knew there was nothing coming in as far as employing, over 300 folks from the Guelph Victoria area there.
Yeah.
I never see the grow shrimp we on dry cocoa land, right? It was a lie from the jump. So you keep on fooling people and bamboozling people. Yes, you get them drunk with some woodman and all of that, okay? And they vote for you. But they did it more than once. Before that, we had gas. The Russians discovered oil. Former Trinidad, a company that would hook it up with Trinidad and all of that. They even went on Wall Street to see if they could, raise some capital on that prospect too, right? The former company that never existed. I mean, the amount of stuff that they did, and they're selling that to the Grenadian people, will be booming. Remember that song by Beast?
Yeah. I want to make mention of something here that
right? So you continue lying for the people. Yes, they might be susceptible and gullible, young and naive and all of that. They fall for it, they vote. You'll be booming. You win a lot. So what is the next lie? You discover bauxite in Lasagers or something? What is the next lie Kit is going to come up with?
I'm sure he's going to come up with one.
Wait, you put a raptor to the hat. I want to go back to something that I think so with my argument earlier on by Toro. Toro was saying something that I kind of make a point to it here, alluded to it a little bit. He said something here that in Grenada, youth excites a campaign. They're not a tight voting population. Bob, we as youth were motivated in 1976, and yet Maurice and the People's Alliance got the butt kicked, good and proper. I think one of the things that one had to pay attention to, right, and there were a lot of things, a lot of seat that was stolen during that period also. However, what Lincoln said makes a lot of sense. But until we attach the youth with the older folks, we have to marry these two. Yeah, we have to get that older folks coming out to vote for NDC as well. We cannot just rely on the youth to win an election. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, what Taurus has been documented many times in many different regions of the world. And the reason that young people don't vote is that they are not fully invested in the society at that age. They don't have business, they don't have children, they don't have car loans, they don't, so they don't see how the challenges of life informs their decision making. So most of them might still be living at home. Most of them might have a little job where they're making just enough to get by. So they don't feel that they're really invested in what's happening in the society yet. What the mistake that we make is for those of us who are young and were always attuned to politics, that we assume that everybody else was. We assume that all our friends were, and they really weren't. So the idea that you're going to be dependent on the young people to get you over the hump is a fallacy. It doesn't exist. They don't vote in those numbers.
Let me just throw in my 2 cents, right? I want to say this is a different dynamics right now. We have COVID. We have a lot of issues on the table. People don't know what they're going to eat tomorrow. I mean, they just want a better future for themselves. They are tired of the same old, right? I don't know what promises this guy is going to come and invent and come and throw it out there.
Let me tell you something.
I don't see that happening.
Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, he may have been the best prime minister, but let me tell you this one thing. Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, he might be the best prime minister, but he's the best politician. I want to put it that way. He knows how to win election. Yes?
Politician.
And unless NDC comes up with something totally out of this world, you cannot.
No, we will dismantle his lies.
Hold on. You cannot just depend on just the youth vote. I excited. I want the youth to come out and vote. Yes, but also I believe that the machinery must also go after the undecided voters and also some of the older folks and youth in the NDC, the NNP. You have to do that. In order to win this election, there's a lot of work that have to be done on the ground. He's not going to win on the social media.
Here's something, John. Here's something, right?
Then is the problem.
Tillman Thomas, 1 second. I'm coming to you. Tillman Thomas, right? Just like Nazim. You know Tillman is a dog, right? Nazim is a lamb. Keith Mitchell is a pit bull. You don't put them to stand up and fight against Keith. You need somebody who pelt a punch.
No.
Right.
Let me tell you something.
What I'm saying, some of the things that Keith said about Tillman, and Tillman wouldn't even grumble. He took it lying down. Same thing with Nazim. He lied on Nazim. How many houses Nazim built? He took money from whatever. He lowered VAT. I don't want to get into all of that. Trust me, guys. I'm fully aware of what's going on, Okay? So, but when somebody put out some negativity against you, if you don't rebuff and dismantle it right then and there, it sticks.
Yeah, before that come back in, I want to say something to you, brother, because I had it was on Pablo's show. One of the Roberts brothers was here, and I asked him the question, what you just mentioned there. Nazim Buck, under his leadership, NDC had won more votes under Naz's leadership. Yeah, yet he was pressured to get out of the party, right? And I asked him why did they do that. You know what he said to me? You know what he said on national TV? You know what the brother said? Because the Prime Minister, Peter David and Chester Humphrey was throwing dirt at Nazim Buck too much. And I said, this is your guys' responsibility to support the leader and attack Peter and Chester. It's not just Naz's responsibility. You understand? All of you had a responsibility, so all of you failed Naz. I'm blaming Naz. They failed him. Naz is still, in my opinion, still the better leader among all of them.
I wouldn't go as far as you. I can't say that. I'm speaking on myself, not as a NDC. I'm not an NDC now. But I'm going to say to you that it's a different dispensation right now, okay? We have you may not like him all the time, what he is doing, But trust me, M. Jones, he's not backing down. As soon as I reach, I'm going to meet him, right? 2, Ashida Charles, she had enough of Keith because she was victimized out of her job. She ain't backing up. He has a lot of reach. Keith didn't have that amount of challenges before. And then, of course, we have Deacon and the state of the economy in Grenada in shambles. So you have 4 things going after him, all of them working against him. I don't see how the man could win. He might win his seat, yes. He's going to win one here one day, yes. I'm not saying no. But the NDC has the best shot. What I want to say is, let us all put our mouth where our money is. I want Delbert to come down and help us campaign. I'm coming to Shanti.
By the way,
you know, I'm related to those Holas and them down there, right? I'm related to the Holas and the Alexis and all of them, right? So I'm coming to Shanti.
I kind of Toro. I think there could be a good campaign manager, you know, for NDC. Yeah, it will be
It's important for you guys to also recognize that no government that was managing during the pandemic that has called election has lost. None. All have retained power.
What happened to Tobago?
Tobago is
what happened to Tobago?
That's small. That's a small island inside of big island. This is a practical government. This is not.
I thought there was a clean sweep in Tobago.
Yeah, the practical government is not really a functional.
But that's for local government.
It's not a state government. You know, you can't measure that. It's like Karaku win, like a local government Karaku win election. You can't use that.
Relevant, but you know, it has to be viewed differently.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm glad that I would tell the leadership that we can count on Delbert Batiste to throw his weight behind the NDC. I also would raise the concern that I know Pablo and a foot soldier for years and all of that, well known in the community. So we have to kind of like, marry the old and the new together. So we have a better chance. So this is a very good concern from the dialogue here tonight. And for all the viewers out there, go register as an NDC. If you want to see change in Grenada, go and register as an NDC and vote.
Yeah, I let me say something. I mean, Gemfm is willing to help the propaganda machine, to support NDC and so on. I made that clear, right? And I did that last election. I've been doing all the promotion and all the advertising for free. Yeah, but I ain't gonna do that this year. They'll pay this time. Wrong. They'll show me some money this year. I did that last year, and I still doing some of it for free here still. But it's still what it is. I mean, many people around the world and Grenadians everywhere want to see a change in Grenada, and I hope that this time a lot of us will put in Grenada itself who really want change will come out and make a change, vote for a change, get off the fence, get on the playing field, and make the change happen. 60%, like Sandra is saying, 60% of the youth population is because the voting population of Grenada, but 60% wouldn't vote for NDC. All right, that does not believe that 60% wouldn't vote for NDC. All right, and the NMP has the strong, and it might be upset, we don't know, but as far as it is right now, NMP have the strong support. They have the base, and the base is solid. So again, you have to shake that tree really hard for them to fall off and come on to NDC. NDC have a lot of work to do in that area. But again, I think that Victoria seat. Let me tell you my prediction. I believe that Victoria seat gonna go. So there's that with Mr. Delbert, good friend there. The demon guy there, who calls people demonic, he gonna go. Pamela Moses gonna go. Yola gonna go. You know what I'm saying? I can have Miss Pierre. That's a hard leaf to shake. I think she's going anywhere. I think she's staying. Kate possibly Kate might lose, but she's doing a work right now, so that might be another hard tree to shake in a pause the northeast area there. St. Andrews, that's a hard tree to shake. You can't get in strong. The breeze, it had to come really strong to shake out that tree. So they're doing a lot of work in that area. Burstgrove with Philip, I don't know how that possibly. I don't know if you're gonna win that seat. But again, my position is that if they're voting voting leadership wise, they don't care who they put to run. They just voted because they want Deacon to be leader, and NDC could win the election. That's my prediction. But in terms of who's gonna lose their seats, who's gonna win their seats, if you're going on a seat basis, it's hard to tell that way. But if they're voting,
is not as strong as you think, you know.
No. What I'm saying,
it's not as strong as you think because there is a lot of dirt on her.
Yeah,
but also remember, St. David's to where she is the people related. Is right there.
But understand me, that St. David's seat, that is a seat, and not to show even I didn't show Deacon could win that seat outright in St. David's. I'm not sure about that. Yeah. Bowen might go also, yeah, and I think that would be a tough seat for.
I don't think Bowen is interested that much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So that a lot of seats are, but I think the St. David seat is a trouble seat, even with they can be in there.
You know, look, let me just tell you one thing, right? The division within the NDC facilitated the loss, right? You had people as Humphrey, and it is shameful as an activist, a revolutionary and all of that. The guy is, he's like one of us. And now he has turned around to something that he was not. The connection between him and Jim Sierry and the whole 9 yards. I don't want to get into that.
Who is that? Who's that?
Huh?
Who's that?
Chester Humphrey.
Oh.
Humphrey. Right? So all the guys who you think would have been for the working poor.
He never was anything else. I don't know why you guys are surprised.
What happened to Chester?
About one person, Chester Humphrey.
Oh, he said, I mean, he do all his life.
But these guys are revolutionaries, you know what I'm saying? And you would have thought.
He was not a revolutionary.
He wasn't a revolutionary. He was a fake.
This guy has been about himself.
Look, let me tell you something. Chester have done a lot for the union, and today, I don't know if he have lockjaw or whatever, something happened with him. I don't
How we got there, I don't know. I mean, I can't
the man who rather die, make that statement.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah?
I'm not surprised by anything that he has done.
But what I'm saying is, like, for many years, I thought he was a man of the people, for the working poor.
But no, he was. I think Chester is looking after himself right now. You want a retirement. You want to live happy thereafter. That's Chester's position is. He's not there now. Now he's taking care of him now. He have done enough for people, and now he's make all his sacrifices.
Same thing. With Peter. But if it is true that Kit made a promise to them, right? Okay, let's suppose. Okay, you guys come on board.
Peter is not.
Huh?
Peter is somebody who genuinely care about people. Listen, he have his faults, but in terms of genuinely caring about advancing people's life, Peter cares about that deeply.
Yeah. Give Peter that. But let me tell you something. All of this, the 2008 election, the youth and the people of Grenada, the young revolutionaries, was expecting those guys to stay together and run some revolutionary activities, run back the same agro industry, do the same thing, and it didn't happen. And that changed the dynamics. Yes? That was what was expected of the Ghanaian people. Well, these guys, we come back together now and they will do this thing and do it. It didn't happen.
The 2008 election, NDC didn't win that election. Keith lost the election. People didn't vote for, and there's a difference. There's a subtle difference that exists. People didn't vote for NDC. They voted against Keith Mitchell. And the problem with that kind of win is that the first sign of trouble or the first sign of difficulty in governing, those people abandon you.
Would you say then that the last election, Keith didn't win? A lot of folks voted against what was happening in the NDC?
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. No, it's true. It's true. People was fed up.
Delbert cannot talk from two corners of his mouth.
No, but that is true. That is true. People was fed up. They didn't want to vote for Kid. Hold on. They didn't want to vote for Kid, right? They didn't want to vote for NDC, right? Again, and that's the reason why you had 22,000 sitting on the fence.
They stay home.
That is all.
So it's not that Kid really won.
But watch this though. Even that loss, NDC has gotten more voters on this side.
Wait, hold on. Which election are you talking about? Are you talking about 2000?
That the one in Nice not run yet. Yeah, last one.
Which one? 2013 or 2018?
2018, the one that Nice lost. The last one that
he won both those elections. He didn't win on the constituents. They played with the numbers in one or two other constituents, notably St. George's.
Nice win that seat. Okay. That's stolen seat.
But even if you take St. George's Northeast and St. Patrick's West, where there were evidence of malfeasance from the government, you'd have won 13-2.
Well, even if he didn't win on a clean way. Kid had money paying. There's a certain guy, I'm not going to call his name right now because I eat oil long by his house.
Well, you know you're talking about him right now.
So he probably listening to me, but I mean, I'm going home right here and, we're going to eat and take a drink, right? But you cannot have political operatives with hundreds of thousands of dollars to give out when you do your little check and you realize you're behind. You're paying for votes.
Well, and that's another thing. You have money.
You guys doing that. Grenada is the only place that happens. That happens
everywhere. I ain't saying that, but the NDC didn't have a billionaire. They didn't have foreign people coming in and pouring money into them. Plus the passport sale that they were doing, right? They had a whole lot of slush fund money to spend on the election. So always remember, they did not win clean.
And you think the fund is not going to be big at this time?
Go be big. Uncle going deep.
That is why we need you. We need you to take out some in your 401k and help Deacon. Send something down home. I could give you the link.
Deacon came to the party. His main platform to the party was that he would bring the money to the party. That was his main platform. That was his only thing.
Yes. So we are asking you and other people in the diaspora to help contribute, right?
Yeah,
so we could bring the money to the party.
If you tell me that you will have all the money that you need, and by you coming to the party, you'll be able to bring the business community, and they're going to support your candidacy. And you don't, and that's what NDC operatives were told.
How much are you going to contribute?
You already contribute already.
If you see my bank account over the years, how much I've given to NDC, all the no. You said we cannot relive the past. But you relive the past in glory all the time. So that, because I get attacked all the time now that I'm disingenuous and I'm not a real NDC. My checkbook says differently. Okay? My checkbook, I have letters from the then Prime Minister thanking me for my significant contribution. I'm not going to go. I had a situation even where NDC had received a substantial amount of money from a foreign country. Okay? They had no mechanism in place to receive the money. I was asked to receive the money, okay, on behalf of them in New York.
Do it again, my brother. Do it again, my brother, because we need you.
Hold on.
We gotta get rid of Keith.
Well, hold on. Because the money had come from another, you know what had come from another, Dennis. I had some men in white shirts and suits visit me to find out what dealing I have with certain government around the world as a person living in the United States. How come I'm receiving this money from them, right? In the middle of that, while the investigation was going on and the money was frozen, they called for the money. Now, if I had told them that Homeland Security had frozen the account, the Department of Treasury had frozen the account until an investigation, what do you think would have been said? So I had to go into my personal account and then my then wife's personal account and pull the money out and make sure it got to Grenada so that nobody knew that the thing was frozen and that I could not move that money, right? I had no idea at the time that the money was going to be released to me. So when you hear these people mouthing off on Facebook about my commitment to NDC, I have to laugh because they don't know my track record.
Well, I want you to warm up a little bit.
I tell you already, the boys are recovering.
The
NDC.
Election, the 20,000 T-shirts that was sent to Grenada, NDC T-shirts, were paid for by me.
Okay.
No, so nobody could tell me squat. So I own the right.
We need you on board again, my brother.
I have earned the right to criticize them because they have failed the people repeatedly.
But no, the NDC now trying to put a team together. The situation in Grenada is not their fault. Kit Mitchell is the one to be blamed. I think you have. That is
not true. That is not true. That is not true.
You're operating a circular firing squad.
That is not true.
Oh my God.
He is partially responsible for the situation in Grenada because they royally stunk up the place from 2008 to 2013. And
you're not blaming Kit for what he has done, right? The cronyism.
That's not what I said. I say he's not the only one responsible.
But
okay, hold on. To make an observation, I want to bring that up here. I want to hear your opinion on this. We gotta get out of here. Toro said here. I just lost it. Okay. Yeah, he said NDC never did a genuine postmortem on why they won the only election in 2008 in the 30 years history. They never seriously did a postmortem on why they won. What caused them to win, and can they go back to the drawing board and revisit that method of winning again?
Well, they could look at why is it they lost. You cannot have a house divided stand, right? You cannot have Peter attacking Nazim and
Tillman
to win, and then the same thing with Tillman again. A house divided will not stand. It is common sense, not rocket science. You understand? It is simple. So,
but even before we got,
Margaret
was an incumbent government.
Margaret is saying here, Delbert, in your favor. He said, and Delbert, Margaret have been right involved with you in that. She said, and Delbert, don't forget that after all that, they didn't even have the common courtesy to say thank you. And she said, I don't talk.
The thing is that I guess I'm a product of my mother because my mother used to always tell us, make sure. She had the saying that she said, the greatest gift you can receive is doing something and expecting nothing in return. Now, when I first did that, I probably was about 10 years old. When she sent me to help cut the grass at an old lady's house in Chantemelle and help her plant corn and peas. Now, that statement didn't mean nothing to me at that point in time. All I know, I was missing out on going and play with my friends. But later on, I came to understand that. And why these things is important and why that brings you a special joy. So I listen, I want to see the end of the Mitchell administration in Grenada. Me and John was speaking earlier on today, and Dennis, we come from that same generation. This is really not even in the worst days of Gary, we were still hopeful. We were hopeful. This is not what I expected my country to look like in 2022. So I want to see the end of the Mitchell administration in Grenada, but I'm not ready to exchange one Mitchell for another Mitchell without a vision and plan.
Okay, so I want to say thank you for wanting to see the end of Pete Mitchell and the NNP, right? He's a Mitchell. On the other hand, though, making the assumption that you are trading horses, one Mitchell for another, without a plan, that is not quite accurate. As I said to you before, go back on the website, www.ndcgrenada.com. That's about the 5th time. So do not say they don't have an agenda or a plan or any platform position or whatever it is. You know, go and look at the manifest. Just go and look at what the NDC have in store to do. And
question. Tell me how many people you're going to get to actually go and read that thing. That's where they can. Manifestos are irrelevant in this period.
No, man. Yes. Day before, I got a guy from England who is going to start a chapter, right? And after looking at my posts and all of that, what I did, he's going to do a chapter in England. So I connected him with a certain person in Grenada. I'm not going to donate.
Hold on. I still have the notion that with that well-written, well-documented stuff on the website, we still need to reach the people on the ground who don't go to read this long stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, we know that. We have to
get, there's something. There's something called genuine grassroots foot soldiers. We have to get that thing in the hands of people and have a little conversation, group settings. We're going to sit down and talk to people about these things. People just go sit down and go to read this whole thing.
But
a lot. You know what I'm saying? Young people going doing that. Yes.
John, there has been no party in Grenada's history that has had better plans on paper than the New Jewel movement. But we never relied on that. We were on every single day.
On the ground.
They are on the ground. The
and that's where
they are on the ground.
You gotta hit the ground every day.
John, they are on the ground. Even if
hold on.
Even if you don't know, or probably you're busy, you're not watching or anything like that. Somebody listening.
Hold on there, but let him finish.
People in Grenada every single day, you know. I speak to about 20 people in Grenada every single day throughout the country.
So they're saying that there is nothing. No, man, I don't know where you get your information from. This is not what I'm getting.
Right now, there's a top-down approach to leadership.
Okay, so now you change the story now to top-down. I know. I'll mention about Pablo. I'll mention, I know where you're coming from, and I feel that too.
No, I'm not coming from anywhere backing any particular person. I don't have any dog in this fight.
But you would be coming on April, and I expect I'll be going out, and we're going to be campaigning together. We'll be campaigning together.
I can tell you that much. I'm not going to Grenada to campaign. I'm going to Grenada on personal.
I don't worry. Delbert will be on the ground with your brother. He go be with Pablo. He go look up with Pablo, and they'll do some work. I know that.
But I'm going to Grenada for a family, a kind of mini family reunion, and
Dennis. I'm gonna just like. I'm gonna just line up here. I he's at that GLP.
No. Tell him a backslide. A backslide.
I gotta leave, but it's getting more interesting. You know.
No, next week let's do that program again.
Okay, we gotta be back next week. Yeah, be back next week.
I messaged you on that because I saw somebody take a shot at you for that.
Yeah.
That's political naysayers. You just got to ignore.
Yeah.
Well, listen to me. Look at me.
But you don't owe anybody any explanation on that.
Well, hold on. The leadership in the NDC don't even care about it. But hear what? Looking at me and throwing that stuff out there, if they just want to talk, it's like throwing water on a duck back.
No. I think they're being sarcastic, just saying.
I know.
Joking.
I know. But there are folks that saying that, what I did, I resigned because I spent 2 months in Grenada trying to resuscitate or resurrect the GOLP. The so-called leader or guy who wanted to be the leader and asked me to come in and lend him my hand, right? I went down home, 8 weeks and change, and he couldn't land. Every week he's coming in next week or the following week or something happened and all of that. I'm running around, burning my gas, spending my money. I realized I was being used, you know what I'm saying, conveniently to build him. So when I realized what was going on, I've been on the radio stations, I've been on GBN with Blossoms, big show. I went on 2 other big stations in Grenada, and people were very interested, meeting me everywhere, as I said. Everywhere I go, it was good. He never came, he never showed up. So you cannot have one man. I'm only one person.
Yeah.
Right?
I
realized this was a game.
Again, he's a bag of trouble and then some. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I didn't know. I thought I believed in him. And I went ahead and I did that.
Yeah. But then you're not preaching any different message. You're preaching the same message of sustainable development, of getting rid of the Mitchell administration, of having a new forward-thinking, forward-leaning government that brings
that's tangible... a good message. That's consistency. That's good. So yes, that's a good message.
You haven't changed in terms of your
message. Yeah.
Now, if I'm preaching a good message, I don't need to change and preach a bad one. I am consistent.
Yeah. Well, Dennis, guys, it's time for me to hit the button and stuff like that. I really enjoyed this conversation. This was my first show for the year, and I my voice is back. I've been on almost 4 weeks vacation from the radio. I've been getting phone calls. John, what's going on? You're not seeing you on the radio. What's going on? But I'm back. We're hoping that we'll be having Friday night.
Spectacular fashion. So I think 2022 is going to be a big year.
Well, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Friday night, and Saturday night. Will be happening. However, I want folks to help support this station by financially supporting us by making a donation. Go to the website www.gemfm.ca and hit that donation button and make a donation. Maybe a monthly contributor or a weekly contributor, whatever.
I could do a donation on behalf of the NDC. No.
Yeah,
we are talking NDC, okay? But before, what I said was personally my opinion.
Yeah.
Now we will talk about what it is to do some commercials. We will talk about that, maybe tomorrow or so. All right.
Yeah. So please, all of you listening, please go there and make a donation. Support GMFM to support the programs that we have here going every day. We educate and to liberate. Our conversation is enlightening, transforming, and again, giving views. And we have people like Turo out there voicing his opinion, giving his stuff. He says here, before we go, so is okay, Turo have one more comment here. So is it okay for him to abandon GOP and join NDC, but is seen for Chester to abandon NDC for NMP? I want to go. This guy.
I'll send him a bottle of chocolate wine. I'm gonna send him a bottle of chocolate wine. That was a good one.
Hey, God.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
No. There is a difference. Because Chester completely is singing a different message and is advocating a whole different set of values.
I'm always pro Grenada. It doesn't matter who I thought I'd help with whatever ideas. I want to help with the banking system to revamp. I mean, I went through hell trying to get a property down there. There are a lot of changes that we need to make it more, much easier. Somebody wants a loan, they don't have the necessary documents, the roadblocks and all of that. I could tell you, hell to clear some things through customs, hell, a lot of stuff. We got to make changes in Grenada. I want to help along those lines. So
have to be done.
Grenada.
Yeah. And Margaret is Delbert Sandra is saying that Sandra is saying Delbert is a green independent.
Oh my God.
Sandra and Delbert is hold on. And based on my investigation, Delbert, I didn't tell you this, right? But I did my background. Hold on, Delbert, I did my background check on Sandra. I know exactly who she is. I know you and her is good friends from way back when. Yes. Sandra, he loves you, and he still loves you. I know you probably still love him. You know what I mean?
Well, her heart is in the right place. She has worked tirelessly over the years to see the end of the Mitchell administration. All I'm saying is that we have to plan, because the ones that we had before did not work, and we can't get the different results if we keep doing the same thing. So this
we get that. We get that. Well, my computer is dying on me.
So
now,
yeah,
I'm gonna
okay.
Good night.
Quick closing remarks right now from Dennis. Closing remarks.
All right. I want everybody to do one thing for me. Put country first. Put love of country first. Go and register with the NDC. Thank you very much.
All right, Delbert, thank you very much. Closing remarks, Delbert.
Listen, this was a wonderful discussion. It's always great to get together with someone you consider a friend, and have this robust debate and still walk away. Me and Dennis message each other almost every morning, you know. So folks, don't look at what happened here tonight as anything. This is somebody we message each other every day, you know. And I know his heart is in the right place and he wants the best for Grenada. And I'm just trying to keep them honest, and I'm trying to keep them prepared. There's going to be no coronation of Prime Minister in Grenada. Whoever is going to be the next Prime Minister is going to have to earn it door by door in the villages where the least fortunate live and where they currently reside. And we're going to have to, NDC is going to have to present a bold new vision, okay? Because the reality is that people always tend to stick with the devil they know than the one they're not sure about. Or more importantly, they always will vote for something over nothing, even though that something sometimes ends up to be nothing. And that's where we can't underestimate the power of political promises in campaign, and we have to be careful about that. So we have to have our own plan and make our own bold predictions on what we're going to do, what we're going to accomplish in 4 or 5 years. That's going to transform. We can't do business as usual. We can't do business as usual. We can't have 1,000 minivans running up and down in the country thinking that's any way to safely transport people to grow an economy. That transportation has to be revisited. It has to be relooked. Healthcare has to be relooked. Our education system has to be recalibrated to better serve our people and to give our young people an opportunity to compete on the world stage. We have to look at how do we better take care of our elderly. I mean, there are just so many things on the plate, on the things to do list for an incoming prime minister. So I am troubled when I see those rookie mistakes, those pedestrian steps, political pedestrian steps, knowing that when and if you take office, the incoming is constant. And if now you're showing inaptitude in handling this situation, then it doesn't bode well for leadership of a country, because at that time everything is dependent on you, and that's especially so in small countries like Canada. But
I beg to differ with that conclusion. I beg to vehemently. But I said my piece already. I can't say more. But I want you to tell the public that you would vote NDC. Make that commitment. You would vote NDC.
It was not a conclusion. It was an observation. There's a difference.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have it here. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us. Please join us next Saturday night, Friday and Saturday night right here on Gemfm. And join us every day, 24 hours of radio programming. We're not on Facebook. The edition continues every single day, every minute, every hour, right? Gospel music, soca music, reggae music, everything, motivation. We have it right here for you. There's only station that does what nobody else does. We do everything. All right. So please love, like, and share us with everybody. We have everything for everybody. And if you see something, if you don't see anything, ask us. We'll bring it to you. All right. We have finances, and then yet to come back with the American version. We have a Kenyan version, finances, and I know Dennis was watching Friday. So please, again, folks, Dennis, we're looking for you to come back and do the American version of the program. We have the Canadian one and we have the US one. So
I know, I look at it.
Both of them, right? And then we have a guy from Grenada, we're doing some finances on Grenada too. So we're looking for all of that. We want to mix up all the countries as much with the finances so people can participate in the financial economy, wherever it is, everywhere they are. So we want to bring those issues up front for everybody to participate and get something to participate in the country's economy financially. Yeah?
See you on the campaign trail in my brother.
Yes.
That's what we're going to see.
I can't wait to touch down, bro. As soon as I land, I'm ready to roll.
All right.
All right. So guys, thank you guys so much again. And again, love, like, and share Gemfm with everybody as you come on. Please don't forget to share. Sandra, please. Love, like, and share Gemfm. All right? And we hope one night you could join us on the Talking Point. Yes? And let us sit down in the back. Be a positive and upfront participant. Come on the show. And I would love to have you here with us. I know you are, so no, you can't hide anymore. All right? We know exactly who you are. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And Doris Moraine and everybody else. Doris is our listener of the year. She won the award for listener of the year. Again, we do a lot of this thing here too. We award people for listening. We award people for doing many of things. Author of the year went to Bernard Code this year. Entrepreneur of the year went to the Mitchell family. Remember them? The coconut oil, the whole family. They got an award for Entrepreneur of the Year. We had the Pastor of the Year, Michelle. We had host and co-host of the year that we went to Tex Manwarin and Olivet. And we had also given the Lydia Callis Award for a community service to Miss Juanita Headley for her work on human trafficking and sex trafficking throughout the world. So that we did that this year again. So a red and white affair. We're hoping that next year we'll be able to have the dinner with it. I think some people commented that the only thing I was missing was the food from this year's session. So we're hoping that this year, at the end of the year, we'll have you come up to Toronto for the dinner and award ceremony this year. All right, and Sandra could come over and Doris could come up for the award ceremony.
Right, I might already be there, John.
All right. Looking forward to see you. All right. Okay. Good night and bye, everyone. Julian, good night. Sandra, Davis, Doris, and Margaret, and Lincoln, John, and Toro. I gotta get your rights for some of your articles to put in the magazine. All right. Let us talk about that. I need to put some of these articles you have in my magazine to publish it should be today, but my people didn't send all the articles, so it's still shorting. I have to do it before the end of the month. So I had to start getting some more articles coming in real quick and furious to put in the magazine to put it out there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much, and have a pleasant Saturday night, Sunday morning. God bless you, everybody. Join us tomorrow morning if you personally love going to church and love God and can go out. Check us out tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock right here on Gemfm. For service. Yeah. All right.
Good night.
One love, people. Okay. Yes. With them. Black Stallion. Sonia Madeline Scott. He says St. David's will go. Show, Toro, show. Just bring them articles. We're gonna get the writer of the year. We do literary award too, eh?
Check out every trend Begonian.
You're doing well. We're sports writer of the year.
Out around this Twin Island.
I could probably do nominate the sportsman of the year. We was tempted to do this year, but we didn't do it.
After Manchester start knowing, there's only old doctor was getting because Chip no, Harry no how to run the show. Paul no, Mac no, till the country falling down low. No, the country falling down low. The country breaking down. You will see how the whole place tumbling down, and there's so much right people in town. No, the country falling down low. The country breaking down. You will see how that home just tumbling down, and so much right people in town. They got scholarship and they went away to come back down and help me, they say. So as they reach, they make we know they qualified to run the show. We tell myself they have plenty sense. In them we put the confidence. After much we get to realize was only world in front of the eyes. Jim know, Maggie know, Paul know how to run the show. Roy know, George knows till the country falling down low. No, the country falling down. No, the country breaking down. You will see how the country falling down. And so much bright people in town. No, the country falling down. No, the country breaking down. You will see how the gold is tumbling down. And so much bright people in town. Some don't care if they win or lose. Everybody want to be boss. No one wants to take order. Everybody want to be leader. All man want top position to satisfy their own ambition. Not knowing in this world today, everybody have the part to play. Flo know, Mary know, Harry know how to run the show. Back know, Kerry knows till the country falling down low. No, the country falling down. No, the whole place breaking down. You will see how the country falling down. And so much bright people in town. No, the country breaking down. All them phones just tumbling down. You will see how the place just tumbling down. And it's so much bright people in town. No. If one really want to get through, one must know what one can do. Do what you have to do, I say, and leave the rest for someone to play. Don't go off on the ego trip, that would only rock the ship. And if you listen to what I say, tomorrow would be a better day. Lal know, Rax know, Harry know how to run the show. Ming know, Ling know, still the country falling down low. No, the country falling down low. The whole place breaking down. No, I see how the country falling down. And so much bright people in town. No, the country falling down low. The whole place breaking down. No, I see how the phones just tumbling down. And there's so much bright people in town. We're there. You will see how the country falling down. And there's so much bright people in town. We're there. Falling down. You will see how the country. Yes, the whole damn place just falling down. And there's so much PhD in town. We're there. You will see how the country falling down. And there's so much PhD in town. We're there. As you see how the whole place tumbling down. And there's so much bright people in town. Much bright people in town. The country falling down. All the phones just tumbling down. You will see how my phone just shaking down. And there's so much bright people in town.
Tension high, you see, and you want to know why the Grenadians are angry? The youths are angry because they know you are still trying to give away Cameroon Park, locking out Granitan Lake and leasing away Anadale Falls. The youths are angry when they hear that the Chinese now own Manhattan, Hillsborough and Livera. And the minister's response was, don't buy the hands that feed you, so we must accept the pagoda. The youths are angry when the beach entrances get blocked. Citizens get beaten for bouncing stray dogs. Yet the police fail to file a timely charge to the indebted partner. The youths are angry when teachers hosted, teachers can cook in Batway. Then a foreigner can call the police, who shut down the music irrespective of the culture anyway. The youths are angry when you cancel the role of the Public Service Commission and all interviews for Imani, Traffic Warden and Education Ministry are processed in the political constituency. The youths are angry when President of the Senate referred to Carnival as nonsensical, yet gave silent support for the blocking of public workers and their gratuity, while he wear his wig proudly representing the Queen and her monarchy. The youths are angry when you call a permanent state of emergency, making wheels and deals secretly, trying to push us back in the days of slavery, keeping us hungry and blocking our MoneyGram money. The youths are angry because the man that tried to kill Panorama has just hosted Friday Soca, dishing out big dollar while carnival activity is cancelled for all other. The youths are angry because they are second-class citizens in their own country, where there is politics without political discourse, politicians without political passion and morals, parliamentarians without conviction and principles, opposition members without visions and plans to oppose, leaders that are spineless, permanent secretaries that work against the ministries and country, Grenadian ambassadors that do not like Grenada. Yes, the youths are angry. They are very angry. They are very angry indeed.
Yes, and this was Livingston Nelson. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. Elaine, everyone, Sandra, Davis, Doris, Maureen, Lincoln, Deputy, and Sandra, Margaret, Francis, and all the rest of you. Thank you so much. And I will end this show right now with Ajamo, Pray for Grenada.
I hear my prayer, a prayer for my country. I want to say a prayer to the Lord for my nation. I want to say a prayer for all them politicians. I want to beg the master to brighten their vision. Give them the inspiration to look beyond the horizon. Too long we living in bitterness and hate. Now the time is right for us to renew our faith. I'm sick and tired of all the confusion. The bickering been going on much too long. So as we move to the new century, Father, hear my plea. Hey, Father, I pray for the PM to find solution for we problems. Oh, Father, I pray for every minister to see eye to eye with each other. Oh, Father, I pray for progress. I pray for stability. I pray for happiness and a whole lot of love in my country. Father, I pray for the police. Please inspire them to keep the peace. Oh, Father, I pray for the judge and the jury and those who begging for them mercy. Oh, Father, I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray. I pray for the good and the bad man. I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray. I pray for the whole of my nation. Father, hear my prayer, a prayer for my country. Father, pray for my country. Pray, oh, I say a prayer. Living conditions sometimes is so unbearable. It's very hard for the youths to stay out of trouble. Some of them went to school and they graduate with their degree, but they still cannot find nothing to do in this country. That's bad. I'm sure you know that this whole saying is true. The devil always have plenty work for those who idle. So they turn to juggle, go common sense. I pray for tranquility. I pray for intelligence. And a whole lot of peace in my country. Father, I pray for the woman who give herself to prostitution. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray for the lovely young lady who raising her child without daddy. Oh, Father. Oh, Father. I pray and I pray. I pray for the gun and the drug man. I pray and I pray. I pray and I pray.
Well, that was the man. It's Mitchell Kingman. Pray for the whole of the nation. Good night, folks. Have a wonderful night. God bless you and make you a blessing. Stay safe, be safe, and treat your brothers as you want to be treated.